Like you need a certain end at it. Like you need to see a certain, and New York doesn't help with that. Like I love New York and I love the way it moves, but it's like it only breeds for go. It only breeds for you to go, meet me, do this thing. I'm gonna do this. Like I'm gonna get off of work and go to perform or do some crazy shit because you can.
This isn't weird.
Yeah, I see you. It's your birthday. Think about that with anything. There's like
So it's like you have thought about it.
Yeah, like I've thought
Here,
about
scoot
it.
in a little bit. Get you in the frame there.
But it's like explaining it to people like too much is like, what is the point? It's like at a certain point, it's like,
let's get this in front so you can hear yourself.
Testing.
Yeah.
These is good mics.
Yeah, so pretty much it's just as long as you can hear yourself well and you're comfortable, then you're in a good space.
We in there.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. Sometimes it's the trying to explain something that has taken you a lot of iterations of experiences, right, in order to truly understand, and a lot of these thoughts that you've had over and over and over again. It's like it's very, very difficult because it's taken you a ton of experience to to have to try to explain it to someone, or to like for it to settle in on you. So then you trying to explain it is like kind of wild.
Yeah.
Like for instance, yesterday was my birthday.
Yes, this is the birthday episode.
Right. So someone had gotten wind of that, and then probably in 30, 40 minutes before I left, they were like, "Hey, Earl, happy birthday." Everyone else heard that, and they were like, yo, they came down on me. They were like, what the fuck? They were like, it's your birthday. Like, why didn't you tell? And then everyone was just like, why didn't you tell anyone? Did you? Well, you could have finessed this day off of work. You could have finessed a free meal out of it. You could have finessed gifts out of people that were here. You could have like finesse. You could have made something. You could have let us know, like, so we could have all told you happy birthday. Like, they're like, that's so sus. That's so weird. Like, I can't believe that you wouldn't.
So funny.
And they were like, how? Like, why don't you celebrate your birthday, and why do you not care to let other people know? And I'm sitting here just like, how can I explain that I don't care about my birthday? And I'm like, looking at all these people that are just like, I can't believe that you wouldn't do it. Like, everyone has to know it's my birthday. I celebrate my birthday for a week or a month and I'm like, how can I explain to people? And I was like, oh, I can't.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't. And I was just like, well, I'm sorry I disappointed you all. Well, it's my birthday. You know what I mean? And that's what ended up coming out of my mouth. Like, I can't explain to them how I don't overly indulge in the self. Like I can't explain that right now. So
and it's funny because it's like it's such a self kind of day, and it's kind of like, and a lot of people like when like even outside of that, it's like it's always about the self. It's not like we were talking before. It's not about being like the gel in the space. It's about like, how do I affect? You know what I mean? The space. It's not like reacting. It's more like I am the presence in the space. No matter what it is. Like it's you gotta like check yourself. You gotta really like check yourself and check like what it is like you want out of life, and what like want out of yourself. Like don't like I was even thinking like a lot of what I was working with recently is the idea that it's like you are like your future self. You're not this right now. Like this right now is a gel for that thing. You know what I mean? A gel to experience, a gel to take in, a gel to like learn these lessons and fuck up and do this and in order to like for that self. You know what I mean? And so when it's like you live that way, you can kind of like life can be more of an experiment. Life can be like, I don't have to be like, because I think self is like so worried about like how am I in this space? How am I over here? What is this? And for me, it's like a lot of that stuff, like I was saying with the introducing people to each other and this and that. I mean, it's kind of like art where it's more this thing where it's like, it's a lot of like, you won't try new things because you have to like be in this box and be in this box. Like everything needs to be organized. Like for a lot of people, like that's how it has to be. It has to be organized and it has to be about how I get it's so much is cut off with that mindset. You know what I mean? Rather than it being like even for me, it's like when I think like, cause I am different, but it's like, I do love birthday. So I am very much like, I drive it myself. You know what I mean? So I do, this thing, try to do it every year. This thing called Dad Day, where it's through my clothing brand.
Yes.
And I've done this since high school. I've skipped like about two years of it, but since high school, like my senior year, it would be one of these things where it started off where just people would just wear, anybody who had bought the clothes would just like wear them to school and stuff like that. And so you'd see all these different kinds of people, like just like wearing like their different types of stuff.
So that was your birthday was like a rollout.
Yeah, almost. But it was like, it was one of these things where it was like
for your clothing.
Yeah. Like, it was so funny. But it was one of these things where even at the time, because high school is like, for me, because everybody, like a lot of people like hate high school. Yeah. I liked high school. Yeah. I didn't like the education part. Like I didn't love the education part, but social part I was like pretty good at.
Yeah.
And so it was one of these things where it was like I wasn't even seeing that as a career or like wanting to make it a business even or anything. It was like, this is like something this is just work.
This is fun.
This is cool.
Yeah.
And like everybody's gravitated and like even somebody there was like, man, like this is like a holiday or something. Yeah. And it was like, but it was nice because it's like people can share that. Yeah. People can share that. And then when I went to New York, it was like more like, how do I improve it every time? Where it's like, and it was like the excuse is like, oh, why didn't I do it around my birthday? Yeah. You know what I mean? And I do it the weekend of my birthday, the 23rd. And so what it would be was I did it in my first time I did in like a college dorm, and it was like 70, 80 people packed into this one space. Like it was the biggest thing of the year. My school was small. It was super small. I went to like an acting school, so it was like super small. But it was just so that room felt like 1 million people were packed in that place. So because it was like everybody in the school was there and they're all wearing the shirts, and my friends who I'd met along the way who played music would play music there. My friends along the way just like taking pictures, or the photographers there.
That's cool.
And it was more like, and I like the idea that it would be different photographers, so you would get a different eye. Like it's almost like works like a living art piece. You know what I mean? I saw parties as like a living art piece kind of thing, because it was like anything could happen. You walk into it, like I always like describing it like you walk into a room and the person you've wanted to talk to all night, you have this, this moment with them, and that these are all captured like the photographer I had for that night. Shout out David Skullich. He was like caught those kind of intimate moments, which I kind of liked, where it wasn't like, it was like those moments at like a big party where it's like these two people are talking, or that one person is in thought, or they are turning up, but it's like you just catch these like interesting moments like throughout the night. And it was like one of these things though where it was very much like I was a driver for like wanting to do that sort of thing.
No, I like this idea a lot more because you've made it not so much about yourself. Yeah. So you just took it and you knew that people have a proclivity to celebrate birthdays. Yeah. Right. So you could just take that opportunity and allow it to work for other people to hang out and express themselves. See, that's cool.
Yeah. Cause like it was cool because it was like there were people, at school where they were just like, man, like I've not got fucked up all week. Once Dad Day hits, I'm gonna go crazy. That's I'm like, so it was like this thing that everybody was like hyped up on, and it was like that was cool, and that's why, like you said, it's more that it's like it's like a cheat code. Like that's why I like it. It's like birthday is like I could hit this button, and something could happen. You know what I mean? And so it's more like the excuse for a big gesture. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like what I like, is it's like not even for like other people. I will do the big gesture myself too, where it's just like okay, like birthday, I'll just do this. Like it was so funny. I was literally thinking, like, because I was driving over here, I saw indoor skydiving. Like,
I fly. Yeah.
I was thinking, like, that'd be cool, like, to, like, maybe for my next birthday, like, you know, take a psychedelic and then go into the indoor skydiving.
Well, that would be interesting. Yeah, that would be cool.
Like, just an excuse to try. Like that's like, because it's like one of these things where it's like, oh, I might not try this on a random Tuesday, but it's like, oh, it's my birthday. Why not just like boom,
press that button? That's
really all it like. What like that's a fun thing to just hit. You know what I mean? You just like, that's the reason I like it. You know what I mean? It's like for this time, like I can do a big gesture for myself, or like there's just it's like a cheat code day where like the aura is different in the, you know, in the day,
in the ether.
Yeah, so it's more just like
I may have to adopt that.
Yeah,
for the future. To do something for other people.
Yeah,
because I know that they're willing to do it because it's my birthday. But I can make it more so about a togetherness.
Exactly.
Sort of feel. Yeah,
it's a trust though. It's a trust that like that could happen, and that could like, you know, we could do this together, and we're about this together, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But it's one of these things where you'd be surprised, like how much people like if you're the catalyst to do something like that people will want to help.
For sure.
Because everybody wants to do stuff like that. Everybody wants to be a part of something that's like bigger and is about everybody. It's just like, it's about the person who's like taking that leap to say like, oh, I want to try this idea. And that's really it. Like a good amount of the time, that's another thing with the idea of being a gel in the space. It's like, I could just drop an idea here and let's see, you know what I mean? Now it's an idea in the space.
Before I get into gel in the space, because I love this phrase so much, first of all, I should probably say thank you, Dilruk, for being here today.
Yes, we have crash landed in Earl's world, man.
Sir, indeed.
Yeah, man.
Everyone's going to want to know, where does that name come from?
Yeah, Dilruk. I am half Sri Lankan, and so half Sri Lankan. My middle name's Atta, so I'm like also half South African, and last name's De Silva. That's Portuguese. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and are these names pretty well known in Sri Lanka?
So but you won't see a Dilruk that looks like me, most likely in your life, maybe, because it's such a different mix. Like, because they met at college, you know what I mean? So it was one of these things where they met in California, and so it was just two different worlds, was brought together. So
Portuguese and Sri Lankan.
Yeah, well, South African and Sri Lankan. Yeah, my last name is Portuguese because Portuguese took over Sri Lanka. So it's like that whole like gumbo pot.
Okay. So maybe this is a good place to start. How much of this, your parents being from two different worlds, do you feel like has played a part in you being this gumbo of a person?
Oh man, and I've thought about this so many times, because like I think that it has made, it's like I'm very gumbo of a person in general. Like I feel like that culturally there's like different things that I've like adopted from each, and that's like very interesting to see because as you get older you sort of just see that more like blatantly, like, oh, I got this from my mom, got this from my dad.
Could you give me one of each? One from dad?
My mom is like the artist person.
Okay.
So she was the one who like taught me how to make shirts. She was the singer. She was the actress. Like she like and she now works with children and loves like doing creative projects with them and all that kind of stuff. And
shout out to mom.
Shout out to moms, man. Yeah. Shout out to Buhoka Sana. Then my dad is he's like very charismatic, very like fun, but he's very like, this is the way, this is the path, this is the, very like, he was like, wanted to be a biologist. Now he's like, in computer business, works for the government, stuff like that. So it's very much like two like opposites, like they're opposite personalities, like they're opposite people. And so and then on top of that, I'm like an artist person. So that's already like different, like whether it's like, you know what I mean? It's like the most sociable, the least sociable. It's like artist is gonna be like a separator from like a good amount of people, where it's just like you're kind of your brain's not just like working the same as like everybody else's, whether that's good or bad. It's more that it's just not fully like on the same wavelength. Like, and I'm telling you, it's like I'll enter spaces that's like I'll tell you, even where we've met, I'll say everybody there thinks I'm high. I don't smoke at work.
Funny.
I don't think I'll smoke at work, but even like the Latin workers, they'll be like, marijuana, huh? Mary Jane, huh? You smoking, huh? He is doing a and they'll just say that, and I'm like, I'm telling you, can do a piss test right now. I am not funny. Like never at work. I'm never smoking at work, right. But it's just like my brain is like, and I got ADHD too on top of that to add into the gumbo pot. Like that was a thing even in school. Like legit ADHD, not like kinda like had the 504 plan, had to take Adderall. That whole like I'm not here right now. Yeah. Like I'm not like, but like math class was like terrible for me. Like it was just like I'm taking notes blindly, kind of, and I'm like, I'm gonna just check this later. I'm not like, y'all lost me like
a long time ago.
Like I was trying to zone in. Like, even when I started taking Adderall, I was like, I'm trying to zone in on this. Yeah. And then I'm like, I just don't get it. And so I'm like, I'm just like going to take the notes. I'll probably talk to my tutor or something, and hopefully some clicks there, because it's one-on-one, Yeah. Because it's just, school just goes. So you're just kind of like.
Yeah, regardless of where you're at, the class has to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, we got to take these SATs. We got to take all these tests. Go. Yeah, they got to go.
We got to go. And the thing is, like, I would be always the last one to finish these tests. Like, the last one. Like, not like maybe the one or two. It's like like my friend would be in the next class and he's like, you still taking the test? He's coming in the next year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember, like, you would just have to sit back and just be there for as long as it took you to fucking finish the test.
Or you come to study hall and try to do it again. But damn, man. It was just bad. It was just but for both of them, it's just they're very different people. Yeah. They're very different people, and that sort of just like gumbo pot in my, like, mixed it up, made it all jumbly, on top of me being a very jumbly kind of person.
But then, you got into the art space, and first was acting?
Yes.
That was the very first?
It was, well, technically first was, and I was going to explain it out there, we were talking, was I want to be a manga artist and author.
Yeah, okay.
So that was like the first thing I wanted to do.
Manga, for people that don't know, is Japanese comic books.
Japanese comic books, you could say. And I loved, I was definitely otaku, loved that shit, like jumped into, like, one of my homies introduced me to Dragon Ball Z, everything. Honestly, like comics and stuff like that was probably my gateway drug into art in general, really. Because I wanted to be like every little black boy, a professional basketball player before that. And so, Like, and I was nice in third grade.
Yeah.
I was nice because I was obsessed.
Yeah.
I was obsessed. So I was like really nice. And then it was like as I was growing, it was just like as you grow, it becomes less about the sport, like the love of the sport. It becomes about like you get to high school, it's like there'll be people who are on the team. It's like they're not really good, but you know they tall. They could be like a guard. They could be like, you know what I mean, or they know the coach, or they know, and or like, you know what I mean, or it's like, and even if you are good, and it's like it's a very clicky. Being a part of sports is super clicky.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things where after a while I was like, you know, it's just like not about the love of it anymore. And I was chasing something that was about the love of doing. And that's like art is never not about the love of what it is that you're doing. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's where it was like, yeah, the gateway drug in. But I wanted to be a manga artist and author first. Like I would be like in my room just drawing, writing, coming up with stories like for hours. Like especially when I was like newer to Virginia, it was like that was like I was in there. I was super nerdy. I was watching like Kingdom Hearts playthroughs, and I would just be drawing and writing and stuff like that.
That
and like,
first at Kingdom Hearts was so fucking good.
It's iconic.
It's such a good game.
It's iconic, man. It's iconic. It's and I see it now, like it's interesting seeing a resurgence in the scene, like of people like, you know what I mean, seeing how like ahead of his time and swag that whole thing was. It was just there's so much swag. Like you look at their like clothing and how it's designed. I was like, damn, because even like the shoes that I came in with, by the way,
yeah.
Like I was like for my birthday, I was like looking at gifts, and the thing is, I was on Etsy, and shout out Etsy, my clothes are sold on Etsy too.
Sweet.
Dad Creative Ventures.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put everything in the description.
Yeah. So, but Etsy, you'll find those independent creators. So my brain is thinking like, oh man, like I could probably because I loved the shoes. Like I loved the shoes that they're wearing in Kingdom Hearts. So I was like, man, maybe I could find those like somebody who's recreated like those like shoes, maybe even as like cosplay shoes. But I want to just wear them.
Yeah,
like I could just wear them out. And somebody did, and they cut off they remade the front, but the bottom's a Jordan. So they rebuilt the whole part, put the zipper, all that kind of stuff on top. So, but yeah, no, it's like, and if you look, and that's why I was like, you could pair like a good amount of the stuff they wear and pieces that they got, like even if you look at another one that's really cool. If anybody wants to dive deeper into Square Enix and their aesthetic and all that stuff, like Final Fantasy is so cool. Like it, like even
I'm with you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because even like if you like look up just the way Cloud dressed, you know what I mean, and like you could wear that now. Like you could wear that and look fire right now, like that little fucking
like corduroy tank top or whatever he got on with the baggy jeans.
Yes, with the baggy jeans, the boots, and like hair was fire. And then after that, like obviously had the big ass futuristic sword. Like, oh my gosh, so swag. Like it was so cool. And then he rode that bike, and then he had the fucking sunglasses on. Come on, man.
Did you watch the Advent Children?
Yes. That put me on. I was like, oh my god.
That movie's they did a great job.
It's so if anybody has not seen that movie, because for that time, it's still like looks better than some graphics now.
Oh, it's great.
It's like it's like
the fight scenes are amazing.
And even just like showing people like how far graphics have come just by watching that movie, just because it's like you're like watching it like, what am I looking at? This looks so real. It's so like it like you look like the details are so and like and then even on top of that, the style is so definitive and it's so sick. Like even Sephiroth is just one of the illest.
Did you play the remake?
Ever. I actually never played any of the games. I was a playthrough watcher. That's really all it was.
Okay.
Because I didn't have like I couldn't like buy games and stuff all the time, but I also was like not like the biggest video game player.
Yeah.
Like I played like very like like it was just and I really like, I was very specific in what games I liked. Like I liked like Skyrim and Fallout, like stuff where you could make your character from the ground up and then just move around. Yeah. But if it wasn't that, I kind of just liked enveloping myself in what that world was like by like watching playthroughs of the movie, or I have the figurines. Like I got Cloud, I got Sephiroth, because I was just like, they're so like it's so sick. They're just like I just liked enveloping in what the aesthetic in the world was that was built. And,
see, it's like everything you say sounds like that. Everything like enveloping. I mean, that's literally, you're just using bigger words to say be a gel in the space.
Yeah, literally. So, and because the thing is,
where did that come from? Like, because I asked you like if it was acting first, but you said it started with the manga, creations. I'm trying to figure out like when was the earliest you remember feeling like I just want to be a gel in the space. Like I just want to absorb things. I just want to kind of go with the flow and just kind of swim in the ether with whatever is going on at the moment. Like when did you figure this out about you?
So honestly, like, what is it? And also, forgive me, I go on tangents too, because I knew that's where we started.
I work well with this. Don't worry, because I've done a lot of the same my whole life. So like, I work well with people like you.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I was like, yeah, that is what we were saying before. So
we could record a 20-hour long conversation.
Yeah, because I was like, really, it's so funny. I was about to like go into like other things that are like so swag and put people on to some shit. Because I was gonna. We'll go into this later, but Bleach. You ever heard of Bleach?
Yeah, I remember Bleach.
Like that's also really swag.
Yeah.
Like, but I'll come back to that.
Yeah, Bleach is like it's also Inuyasha adjacent.
Yes,
like it kind of came out around the same time.
But if you look at like some of the like other covers or the style of Bleach, they were like, Tite Kubo was like really on swag with that. Like they were like, if you watch those, like it's like really look at it, you're like, wow, they like, this is really cool.
How do you feel about Demon Slayer?
Demon Slayer's cool. Demon Slayer's cool. Demon Slayer's like got that like classic vibe, you know what I mean? It's like classic anime epic kind of vibe. Like that's that, and I love the like earrings and everything. I love the style,
swag,
but it's very, and like even the jacket, like I'll see people like recreating the green jacket, and I fucks with it. It's cool, but I think that it's very classic anime epic. Like at the core of it, it's not very like modern. It's more very classic anime, like, and I love that. Like it's like even watching that first episode, that pilot is like, this is classic anime revenge story epic like that, and it looks, and the animation obviously is like top tier.
I didn't expect it to be as like gory, like as dark as it started out. Like it seemed kind of like bubbly at first, and then that shit got really dark really fast, and I was like,
it was a punch. I was like, wow. So that one is cool. I do love that one. That one is awesome. But we'll go on the anime discussion later. So the thing that started with sort of gel in the space was because when I was doing like my manga stuff and comic book artist stuff, I didn't have like the idea of like wanting to dress myself and wanting to like look cool. Like I was definitely, because another thing I do and main thing I was gonna do is comedy. I did stand up.
Yes.
I did stand up and still want to get back into stand up, and I was writing sketch comedy also when I was like about 16, 17. And so and then I was just class clown. So it was very much one of these things where that was my main way in, like when I was like fitting in with everything, was I was like funny. Like I was just like really funny. So then it was like, and I knew like in my head, I was like thinking with like the manga and comic books, it was one of these things where like I didn't dress myself and stuff like that. Like my characters would look that cool, or my characters would live this life, nada. But me as a person, it was like I could just gel with whatever's going on. Like when I'm out in real life, you know what I mean? It was just like, you just sort of just like, especially high school, you're just sort of just moving through, you know? And especially when you're just like, even when I was younger, I would think I was very aware very quickly, but I think it was like not the good awareness. It was like the awareness, like almost like, oh, I'm like better, like and cynical about other people, and very like, I wouldn't say that I was judgy. Like I wouldn't be judgy in person, but it was like judgy in here.
Yeah.
And like I felt like I knew like what the clicks were, like how that worked. I may not know like everybody and everything. It was just like, I know that this is this, and like, and I could feel like with awareness, it's like the weird thing of like feeling your mind, like, because early on it's very weird. Like I remember the first time like feeling awareness was like probably like third grade. It was like one of like just like one of those like weird moments where your mind is like thinking on itself, and you're like, wait, what is this? I have like an inner monologue. Like what is going on? And so that awareness like kind of just followed me forever. Like it followed me in different ways. Like definitely like when I was in middle school, it was more like cynically and just watching things from bird's eye view, but I was still just like, I just loved like it was cynically, but it was more like I didn't let that affect my interactions with people. Like it was more just like I just know that this person's like a jockey person, this person's like a nerdy person, this person, but it's like just knowing, like it was more like after a while it was like I can connect in this way, you know what I mean? I could just connect with this person here and connect with it. And it's like, and I think for later being just like in general artsy, it was one of these things where it was nice for like artsy people, I think, to see somebody like that, because it's like, I think for artsy people, it's like, luckily, I feel like I'm like, you know, can be funny and charismatic and stuff like that. But it's like for a lot, it's like they're the person in the back of the party who's like trying to figure out how do I talk to people,
or they're not even at the party.
Or they're not even at the party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're kind of like, you know, trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Or it's like they're just talking to their people. And so it's one of these things where I was like, seeing somebody like that, like who's like into the same stuff as them, it was like, I think that was nice. Like it was just like cool to like have that and like have those people like believe that it could sort of happen. Like
yeah, that's what's interesting about it, especially, you know, thinking about like, just public schools and how cliquey it is. Everyone's, I mean, people are always trying to find an identity. They're trying to find themselves in life, you know, and you know, some people are having a midlife crisis, you know, age 35, 40, still trying to figure out, like, who am I and what am I doing here? Like, what is all this for? Right. So people are trying to figure it out their whole lives sometimes. Right. But especially when you're a young, impressionable human. Right. You're just looking around like, who looks like me? Who likes the things that I like? Like, and you're trying to figure out who you are in the midst of all this fucking chaos. And so it's interesting for you to be a young person and be walking around like, I don't have to choose any of these one things. Yeah. Like I can just walk around and just hang out with everybody and absorb everything. Right. That's a very interesting thing. Right. Because that is not easy.
It's not. It's not. And I think the big thing though that helped was that like I didn't really give a fuck. Like it was really more just like, especially it was like that, and then it was like, then I started getting into like the style I like and like fashion, and like it was definitely like the people I started getting into. Like it was definitely like the Tylers and the Gambinos, the Kanyes. Like once I saw that, and like there was even, I was like hip to like K-pop even very early on.
Oh wow.
Like K-pop like was like, I was like hip to it like very randomly found it. Like it is kind of embarrassing how I found it. And like there was this show, Shake It Up on Disney Channel. Okay. And I was like, oh shit, the theme song's kind of fire. Well, I'm not here to get. And I looked it up on YouTube and I found this song by this like Korean group called Super Junior. And they're like this big group, and this was like 2000s. They looking like straight up Final Fantasy characters, like these K-pop people, like these, like that's why I was like, oh damn, and I was like, it's funny because I'm listening to it, and you know that thing hits where you're like, this is so stupid, and they're like, wait a minute though, hold on, why they kind of going right now? All right, let's do one more. Let's see what's going on. And then you're just in, man. Then you're just in.
He said, hold on a second. Hey,
hold on.
hold on. Shit.
I don't know what they saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's what you were saying?
Yeah.
About the guys in the back at work. You're like, we're not really speaking the same language.
But we speak in the same language.
But the energy is transferring somehow.
Yes.
That's exactly that. That's a fact.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Like, K-pop was that for me. I was like, damn, the swag is hitting. Like, they making good ass songs. They make it better, like American sounding songs than like Americans. Like they're making better Western music than some like
That's funny as hell.
It's crazy. So
I've thought about that because I was asking someone that is French that came on the pod a while ago. Shout out to Bella. Mm-hmm. I was asking her about a song, if she could go listen to it and tell me if it was trash or not. Because the song was sung in French. Yeah. And I was wondering, I love this song so much, but I thought if I knew French, would it ruin the song for me? Like, would the lyrics get in the way? Because I don't know what they're saying, I just hear a beautiful woman singing. Yeah. And it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I found this song when I was in Maui. So I'm like thinking about like just driving and just being, in the fucking beach side in Maui, beautiful weather, paradise. Yeah. And listening to this woman sing. Yeah. I just thought, but if I knew the lyrics, like, and the lyrics sucked.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
some of them are crazy. There's like this one song by this one group called Shiny, and the song's called Lucifer. And it's like an epic like music video, it's song, like because they get into it. That's the one thing. Like they're 100% into it. Like they're doing the choreographed dances. They like looking like Final Fantasy characters. Like they care about music videos and their presence and that's the thing. Like some niggas is like, you even look at some of these big rappers. It's like some of them like don't care about the drip, don't care. They'll come out like I perform at some people where it's just like they trust the backing track way too much and they have no like stage presence. It's like you can't blame like people like who love like K-pop because it's like, bro, they like care about the whole shit. You know what I mean? So, but it's the song Lucifer, and I was like, damn, they're going crazy, da 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 la la. And then after that, the lyrics are like the whole thing is about like the feeling of like trying to talk to a girl is like Satan. Like that nervousness is like that fills up inside is like Lucifer. I'm like, oh whoa, it's all about that.
That's smart.
I was like, what? This feels like epic song about, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Didn't know it was about like this. And they singing their ass off and they're on like pendulum, like all these like pedestals and doing all kinds of crazy shit. I'm like, it's about not talking to a girl.
Right. Well, what's interesting is you said before that you felt like art didn't have to be this thing. And I mean, it doesn't have to. But I think what you said was like, art's never this thing. That isn't about the love. You were talking about basketball at the time.
Yeah.
And how basketball sports ends up becoming a business, cliquey, weird type of thing. And how it just doesn't have to be that with art. But you being in the art space, especially going and performing around all these other different people, it must be interesting to actually see that for a lot of people, it isn't about the love of the art. At some point, it becomes well, maybe I just have to do this thing because this is what I do now. Yeah. Like, this is how people see me. And I need to continue to produce this thing. Or I just want to be swaggy. Like, I want to be cool, and this is a cool space. So I'm going to...
Well, and that will lead me into the next part of, like, how being a gel in the space sort of, like, evolved for me was, like, going to acting school. Because it was, like, one of these things where I'm coming off of this... almost a high off of high school because it was like I've fully like found my identity. Like I got this like brand. I was dyeing my hair at the time. I had like a blonde streak here, blonde streak on the side. People were making like buttons of my hairstyle at the time and like selling those buttons. Like it was like shout out my boy Jerry. He was making buttons of me at the time because he was just so good at making buttons and stuff. But like I'd really found my identity, really like, okay, I'm going to be like like funny. I did stand up at school. People knew me for doing stand up and stuff.
Like the talent show?
Yeah, exactly. And at my talent show. And it was one of these things where I was like coming off of this, like, even though it was like a big photographer at the school and he like did like photos for free for my brand, all this kind of stuff, where it was very much like, okay, I found myself. I know exactly what I am. I'm funny. I'm going to be like comedic actor. I've been acting around the area. I've like got this brand. I know myself. This is what it is. Boom. Go to like New York. New York is obviously like a damn 180, because
you were here first. You were in the Northern Virginia area first.
And then went to, so it was very like a switch. Like it was such a switch.
How long were you there for?
Like 6 years.
Oh wow!
Like, and I'm planning to go back, but yeah, I was like in those 2 years were school. So, but that first year of acting school is a lot about breaking all your habits. Like breaking this habitual thing that you got, like all these ideas you have of yourself. And sort of like, because with acting, you want to be a gel for any role that you play. You know what I mean? You want to be a gel. You want to be a service to any like theater piece, film, music video. Like you want to be a gel. You know what I mean? So like, not like it's about me and my idea of myself. So that shit was broken down. Like you was seeing people like crying and
how do they do that? Like, what sort of method do they use to do that?
There was like, oh, man.
You talking about people crying?
Yeah.
What the fuck was going on?
Think of like a specific thing, because it was very much like this interesting. It was a very interesting space, because a lot of the classes that weren't like your initial acting class where you like scene partner and you like reading a text and you're like, you know, going back and forth. A lot of it is like one I'll say a simple thing is this thing called Meisner technique. And like if you're an actor, you've probably heard this millions of times, but it's this technique where you're kind of like just analyzing like what's present right now. So so it's like helps, like it's a good acting warm up because it kind of just like takes you out of like self.
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like where you're kind of like, it's like you're rubbing your leg and then you transfer. It's like, you're looking at me, and you just keep doing that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's like, initially, you know, people will try to like you're not supposed to redirect it. And sometimes I redirect it towards joking, you know, and the teacher will be like, all right, stop. I see that you're trying to make this a joke. Like I see that, and the class is laughing, but it's not about the crowd. It's not about that. And the teacher knows that. The teacher knows it's not about them anymore. It's not about what's got, like, there's been times like teachers are straight. I had a voice and speech teacher where they were just like I would like, you know, like be like, you know, the way I am and just like jokey or whatever. And this straight up just like looks at you. It's like I could see that probably this jokiness or charm has probably got you very far in life, but it's not going to right here, right now. Like this is not the space where that, and just everybody's quiet. And so, and it's like, and there was one point that was actually, what was it? It was very weird, but it was very like good. It's good. It's like where it's like, it's more that he made everybody, once I like reverted to that sort of thing, like there'll be times you don't even know that you're doing it. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like I in the class con where it's like I like making the teacher laugh too. You know what I mean? So it's like one of these things, but it's like it was harder to break through them, like because it was not like about that. It wasn't about who's the most charming in the room. It's about getting to self. So it was one of these things where, like, I think he had everybody in the class just stare at me and be quiet. But it's like, I think we would he would ask, like, how does this make you feel? Like, what are you thinking at the moment. And it's like nobody could say it's like it just ask real ass questions. And there's no charm, there's no this, there's no that. And he told me like this is good. I'm just gonna have everybody stare at you if you keep reverting back to the and I was about to cry. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's such a and also, if it's not the regular acting class, you have to wear all blacks. It's just black shirt, black sweatpants, black socks. Like, so you see, like, we're one. Like, it's not like you're not supposed to, like, it's not like we are this thing. So it's more that it's, like, not about the individual. It's not about this. It's like, so it's a very vulnerable space. You know what I mean? Where you're kind of like, okay, all right. You know, like where
That's
you're just like, so and stuff like that. Like there'd be times like it would be certain things like because people have things built up. It's not even like, oh, this makes sense. You kind of have to be in those spaces to see how these things work because it's like there was like this one movement class with this one girl where we were like it was like throwing just a ball back and forth, and it was like this teacher throwing back and forth, and it's like, is there anything that you're, feeling right now? Like, it's okay. You know what I mean? Sometimes that that it's okay. Like I've heard that even not even in class. Like even like girlfriends, the hug, it'll just be like, it's okay. Boom. That'll make me cry my ass off. Yeah. Like that'll do it. And it's one of these things where talking about it right now, that's probably the spot where it's like you learn to just like be a gel for the space, be a gel for, and it kind of like also I think fucked me up as an artist too, because it's one of these things where it more was like, oh, I'm more well-rounded, because I think our society is very built like do this one thing forever and master it, and then like you're gonna be good. And that was my mindset as a teenager, and then I get there and I'm like, fuck, I could be anything. I could be so much more. And there's so much I've like pushed off here, pushed off there, because it's like the society's built like I gotta just be this thing. But it's just like it was funny because it didn't make me just like want to just be an actor. It just made me be like, fuck, I want to do everything. I could do anything and I want to. And it's just like it was like, because I was definitely like moving from passion to passion, but I was 100% in everything, that one thing that I was doing. And it was just one of these things where I was like, oh man, like, now it's like I would be doing myself a disservice if I like, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like the world is not built like for that sort of thing, unless like it's like you have that ambition and that drive to just keep going and keep searching, and keep be living real, like that's a thing that is I'm so passionate about, is just like living this life as real as I can. You know what I mean?
What does that mean for you to live it as real as you can? As opposed to, I'm assuming, fake.
Yeah. I know. It's like, I don't even want to say that. Because it's like, again, like we were talking about, it's like all point of perspective. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because like the way, like I said, society is built like it's like you go to that one thing and you master. And honestly, I feel like, because society's built that way, that would be like my general advice. Like, just be like, oh, you got a passion? Just boom, stick to that one thing. But it's like, it's hard when it's like, you're neglecting things. So for me, like the idea of like living real is like just like I'm so afraid of the idea that like, let's say you take ayahuasca or you do something crazy and you're just like, you end up in that midlife spot. You know what I mean? Or you take the DMT or whatever, and you realize there is something locked in the back of your head. Some kind of magic, some kind of other portal in the back of your head, or even some memory or something that is hidden in there, and then it just comes out. You know what I mean? And there was a point definitively, and and I made a whole movie, like it was a short film, but it was where I was in high school and I'd felt this thing, like felt my felt the awareness is almost like an image, you know, for the first time. It was like one of my like best friends in the world. We'd had a falling out. My girlfriend of like 3 years, we had like broken up, and it was just like one of these things where I'd like was like still like in this very artistic phase, and I was getting into like really getting into film at this point. One of my favorite directors, and I just watched a documentary on him, is David Lynch. And he was like,
favorite, what do you call it?
Director
David
director.
Lynch. Oh, that's interesting. There's also a prolific sort of. I wonder if he does both.
He's a
proponent of meditation. Yeah, I wonder if that's the same one. Maybe it's a different.
He's a white guy.
Yeah,
white guy, white hair.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow. I wonder if he does all this.
Damn, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe. And he kind of talks like this.
Yeah, I think that's
really.
Him. Yeah,
that's
I think
him?
he's a huge proponent of meditation.
Yeah,
as well, of transcendental meditation.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's like a big painter, big like very much like heads in a different place. He's a very interesting person, but he's like in another realm, but he's also like very classic. Like it's one of these things where it's a very interesting to like hear him speak and just watch his movies, because his movies feel like a dream. His movies feel like I was really into the movies where it's like there was definitively nobody. Like you could say, oh, this person is doing their own thing, and like there was nobody doing what David Lynch is. To this day, I don't think there's anybody doing what David Lynch was doing. You know what I mean? Like, because that surrealist film, you come out, you don't like you have to. There's a good amount of it you have to interpret. You know what I mean? There is a linear story, but there's a lot of it that is like. And the fun part for me with those like surrealist kind of movies was like looking up and seeing what other people thought this thing, and what they think. And he just like was very much about the idea that it's like he wants like even after he dies, I think I saw in an interview where it's like once I die, it's like you can't ask the person what it was, like, you know what I mean? So it's like it sort of lives like in you kind of thing. And so I was very much into like surrealist film. And I think Dali, I was into Salvador Dali and stuff like that. And so I went to make because this moment, like in time, like it felt like feeling your awareness and seeing it. Like I was seeing it as images. I was seeing it. And so I just sort of wrote these images down, and I was like, I could make a movie or something out of this, you know? And so I wrote the whole script and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, one of those first times I would like make something, it was super vulnerable, and I sent it in my group chat, you know what I mean? And like we were all jokey, you know, we like art and stuff like that, but like this is the first time somebody in the group's doing something like, whoa, this is, you know what I mean? Like,
do you ever struggle these days? I mean, maybe all that you call it the Meisner?
Yeah.
Meisner and then other techniques that they use, maybe that broke all that down for you.
Yeah.
But do you find any moments where what you're about to put out kind of scares you because of the level of vulnerability that you're about to put into it? Is there anything that you're like, maybe I don't really want to go, I don't want to explore that or investigate that feeling or that thought, or I don't at least want to express it and put it and exhibit it to other people?
Yeah, I've thought about that. And it's more that it's more that I don't analyze when that time comes. It's more that it's like what I like and like the magic now, because I've been more focused in on like music. Like even now, rolling out a project called Scratch, which is all about like it was like the ideas that I'm like making this from a space of starting over, you know, like to an extent, not like fully, but you're like spiritually, faithfully. Like all this, and like in the idea of like life and point of perspective is like had a resurgence. But it's one of these things where it's life happens first, and then you kind of just let life do what it does. You kind of like be a gel for life. You know what I mean? And you kind of like, it's more that there are these things that are vulnerable and stuff like that, and but it's like the magic, I think, like with writing and like even music and stuff like that, and like with anything, it's like because I will feel like, because like I said, I'll go on like tangents or blah, blah, blah. Like when I talk, it's like I feel like I'm all over the place sometimes. But it's like when something like a song or like script, it's like something that's almost outside. It's like magic because you're just like, whoa, this is exactly how I wanted to say it. And that's kind of like something you can't time. You know what I mean? You kind of just happens. And it's like, that's perfect. And I kind of don't like shutting that down ever. You know what I mean? It's like I might like have it in the vault or something like that for the right time, but it's like, this is the time. It's more like that.
Oh, okay.
It's more that it's like, this is the time.
Yeah.
You know, I guess this is the time. You know what I mean? Because it's like everything, like I said, like there's 1,000 thoughts, 1,000 this, like who's going to think of this? What's going to think of that? Da, 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 with everything before you just do the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's so many. And I think I feel like for a lot of people, even people watching, it's like, I'm telling you, it's like way more relaxing, way more fun, way more like real to just like allow things to be, allow yourself to be curious, like allow like not shut down that you're curious or not or shut down the feeling of this and that. It's like, and it's like, you know, who knows? I don't know if that's the best advice in the world, but I feel like, because I feel like I said, I feel like society's built on boxes and built on like going one way, but I feel like the world outside of what we have built we're like animals and we're supposed to experience this thing that we inhabit. Like, you know, like we're supposed to like live that. That's how animals live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a space for everybody. We like everyone is necessary in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So even all the people that are very straight laced and very organized, like they're on that path, and that's all they could ever be. Like they wouldn't know what the fuck it is you're even talking about.
Right.
They're just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But I know how to do this thing though.
Right.
Like I know how to organize this thing.
The thing is, what I'm talking about, it's why I say it now, if you have not thought about it at all, is you're going to realize it in some kind of way. Because it's innately what I'm saying is human. Innately what I'm saying is like what we as the animal human being is going to experience in some way. Because that's the thing. It's like, okay, they're on the straight path. They got the money. They got the girl. You got the thing. And then it's like that relationship is messed up here because you're not thinking about this part or like the empathy. But I've checked all the boxes. Got the house. Take on the date. Da 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 da. Like, but it's like, are you there? Are you asking me what I want? Why are you asking your partner what's going on? Then they fucking the janitor.
Yeah.
Because the janitor's a jail for the space. Yeah. Yeah, man. He's asking me what's going on. And we have a connection. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's reality. No, that's definite reality.
But it's like there's gonna be different ways people like, because like it's just gonna come back. Because
that wasn't a psychedelic experience that you had that helped you realize that. Because you brought up ayahuasca. Was that?
I think one that helps like acid took pretty young. And with friends, and that is an experience like same with like shrooms as well, where it's just like you get to a very like acid's very like go though. You know what I mean? It's very much like shrooms the same way, but they both have this idea of you are the animal, like Earl. You are the animal, Dilruk. Like you're not like the idea of yourself and any of that anymore. Like you are this in this environment. You know what I mean? And it just becomes so clear. And that, like, and maybe like some people got to do that to get there. You know what I mean? I do have that within me. And I think also like the environments I was around and mindset I held, it was like there, but like shrooms and like acid more just like, okay, yeah.
It was just like a reassurance.
Yeah.
Like,
so this is what it is. This is true. Like, this is what it is. It's like, it just breaks down so much of the stuff that we put, all the walls. It's just taking down the walls. There's a lot of walls we got up. So it just takes down those walls and just makes you just be like, yeah, this is what it's really about. You know what I mean? And we need that. We need that at a certain point. And if it's not psychedelics, you're going to get it in some crazy way, some other way, something is going to crash, you know, so hard. If it wasn't your past before, like in the future, something is going to crash because it's like, it's innately human.
Yeah.
Like the world we've like built is like not innately human, to be honest. Like it's like it's just what we built to organize things. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't, like, that's the thing where it's like at a certain point there's gonna be parts of it you're not built for, like, because it's not like what, like, you know what I mean, what it like, and it's just getting crazier.
yeah like we are extremely primitive to the world that we have built around us. Right. Very, very true. Yeah I guess that's why you only ever hear the words depression and anxiety these days. Because like how could it not be? Yeah. You know, like we're not built for this world. Yeah. We're just not. I think that's why they're trying to make these jumps in technology, especially when it comes to brain chips that they want people to start, you know, thinking about in the future, so we
can just turn us on, so
that we can start like advancing along with the technology, right? Because we're clearly not there, which is why people feel like they don't feel like there's a sense of groundedness in their life. You know, like people don't feel very grounded. They just feel like they're caught up in the maelstrom of life. Imagine what it's like actually being in a fucking tornado. Like you just flying around in a tornado. That'd be people's lives. In their mind. Exactly. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Where is up? Where is down? It's just like disorientation.
Right. You know? No, and even, because that's why it's like, even now, the point, like, that I'm saying, even with like this idea of scratch, is this idea that it's like, because my life drastically changed like literally a couple months before I came here, where it was like these two roommates who I like thought were brothers to me, like ran out on a lease. So so it was one of these things where, and they ran off, like one of them ran off while I was like at work, and it was one of these crazy days where it was one of these days where I was like, those days where it's like I was working at Governor's Ball, the music festival, and it was like one of these things where I was like working for this market research company, and it was like one of these things where you kind of go around asking people what they think of the festival, doing surveys and stuff. And from 12 to 7, that's my shift. Then you have a free day. And then I was just with my homies who I was working with. And I was like, damn, if I am in a music festival, it would be great to have some psychedelics here. You know what I mean? And then one was like, yo, you want to take these tabs, man? I'm like, let's do it. We're on cloud 9. This feels great. Like, I saw Lil Uzi for free. Like, I'm seeing people I wanted to for free doing sets of a lifetime. I was wanting to see Kendrick, but he was like the last day. But I was like seeing Uzi at like the best he's been in a while. He was like, I'm dropping a tape at the end. And like, that's why I was like, I see dropping a tape. They had surprise guests, all sort of stuff. I was like, damn, and I was paid to do this? Like, this felt like cloud 9. It was like one of these things where I literally, it's like in the movie where it's just like, man, like, what could go wrong? Like, literally, what? Like, nothing could, I said literally out.
Scene.
Yeah. I literally was like, man, what could go wrong? Like, nothing could kill this vibe. And literally, I get the text that I was like, I'm not going to stay there anymore. I'm not going to be manipulated to stay here. When it's like, bro, you haven't paid rent. Like, what do you mean manipulated? That you signed a lease? And so then I come back to the apartment, to the TV gone. to opening his door, everything is gone, all this sort of stuff. And this is not a friend of like a couple months. Like we've been friends for like 2-3 years. So it was like, and he's a bit older than me. And it was just very much like, damn, like we couldn't even just talk about this. Like we couldn't even like, and so.
And you said there were two?
Yeah. Cause the other one was not was a homie. And then he was like, I'm not going to do the same thing he did. And he did. So. And
what was going on in that house where they felt like they had to split the way?
Well, I mean, I'd like one of like I think like one of them, like two of them were not getting along. Two of my roommates are not getting along. But it was like whatever, we were figuring it out and stuff like that. And also in New York, the landlords are not great either. Like you got to look at the management of some of these businesses. It's not even just like the roommates you live with. They were skeezy people. So they didn't like that and they weren't getting a ton of stuff done. But it was one of these things where it was just like I think like it was also an entitlement. Like it's like, I deserve better than this kind of thing. But it's like we're all in this thing together. It's like we've all signed a lease. We've all like, you know, like at least decided we're going to try to do this, you know, or at least if we're going to figure it out, like we need to talk about it and organize it in a better way, you know? So it was just one of these things where I think it was more of like an entitlement. Like it was more just like the second guy, I think he just was like, I don't got the money and ran away, which is the first one too, but he was just more entitled. Like, he was like more of like the modelly type. Like,
where do you stand on fighting for friends or fighting for friendships or any sort of relationships? Like if someone hypothetically is like, I don't want to do this thing with you anymore, whatever that thing happens to be. I don't want to do this thing.
Well, the thing is, at that time, like it was like right before everything happened, I was like, a thought was running through my head of like, I was concerned as to where I was putting my energy. You know what I mean? Like I was concerned who the people I was, because I was like doing all this shit that was like cool on Instagram. Everybody thinks I'm doing da 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 da. And it's like I am, but on top of that, dealing with this insane amount of shit for almost a year. And it was just so much energy that it was like I couldn't even fire on all cylinders just because it was like so much energy is being put into like making sure these relationships that I have to live with are like, okay. It's one of these things where you gotta like cut it off if they're like not reciprocating how much you are giving. Like at a certain point, it's like obviously it's one of these things where it's like, oh, don't like give to expect something back. But at a certain point, it's like if it's taking so much of you, you know what it is. You know what it is, and you gotta just like. And I have known what it is. It's just like sometimes it's like you're just stuck in those situations where it's just like you live with them, you know. So it's like one of these things where you just hope that like you could just, you know, like figure it out and tough it out together. But that's my thing. It's just don't fight for it if you know it's not, if they're like not giving the same energy. Like if they're not giving that, like just don't. Just like, and you know what it is. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of living real is the same thing. Like that idea that you know more than you think you know. You do. Like, trust me, you do. But you neglect a lot of it because it doesn't fit this. It doesn't fit what my parents would think. It's not what my friends would think. It's not fitting what, you know, my idea of what I am thinks. It's like, but you know what it is. You do. And it's tough. It's a tough thing. And that's the thing, like, even from scratch, where it's like, I am thinking of like reworking a lot of that sort of stuff, where it's just like getting even like more into like my faith and myself and my like just like meditating and all that, just like getting back into like those places and spaces within myself where it's like it's the like it's not the end of the world if you don't do this thing right now. Or there's a certain, because even my girlfriend, my last girlfriend, like, it was one of these things where she would always like be like, she would kind of said that times it's like, it almost like stresses me out looking at you sometimes. I was like, why? And I was like, just because it's like, it feels like you need a certain end. Like you need a certain end at it. Like you need to see a certain, and New York doesn't help with that. Like I love New York and I love the way it moves, but it's like, it only breeds for go. It only breeds for you to go, meet, do this thing. I'm going to do that. Like, I'm going to get off of work and go to perform or do some crazy shit because you can.
So,
you know
when you say, like, she needed a certain end, man, like, she needed to see you in a certain...
Oh, no, she's stressed out because it looks like I need to see a certain end. Like, I need to see, like, this thing, this idea of myself, or you're not going to feel good. And she's very much inspiring because she lives very much like on the timing of like life is life. Like we are here to she was on that before, like I've been on that, but it's like it's sometimes it's almost like you understand what you need to work on and understand what is, but it's not like you're working on it. You know what I mean? And she was on that like very much of like it's about like you being like you're here like as like just an energy, you know what I mean? Like this ball of energy in this time to just do this and experience and figure it out and mess up. Like, you know what I mean? And and life is so long. It's one of these things where it's like, it's like, and that's where we connected, where it was one of these things where it was I just love those people where they just like are out of this, because it's just it could drive you crazy. Like it could really drive you crazy. It's driving people crazy. They don't even know that it's driving them crazy. You know what I mean? They're just tired and they don't know why. Like I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I'm scared and I'm anxious and I don't know why. This is why, because you're not like seeing yourself as just this being, this beautiful being that's in this time, that only sees it as you see it, and not like sort of admiring that it's like a lot of things take faith. A lot of things take like working and like you know, and I'm gonna use the trendy word manifesting. You know what I mean? Like down this path and being on that energy that trusting that you're already on that, like, and just moving. Like people can't do that. It's not built like that. It's not built for that kind of thing. But that's like what we are. That's what we came out of the stars as, like as just these beings formed together to move. Like thinking it, you gotta sometimes come down to the core of what it is. You know what I mean? And like right now, it's just like after everything that happened in New York, it was like one of these things where it's like, oh, but I'm not dead. It's not over. Still look good. Still doing shit. Still have the ambition. Still have the drive. Like it's not like I'm just like, oh, that's over and I don't want to. Because that's the thing. It's all about, because if somebody is, like you said, on that straight edge and that's what it is and they're enjoying it, boom, that's awesome. Keep going, you know, and like everything's happy and they're content and they know how to balance life and everything like that. Awesome. That's fucking great, you know, but it's like, but most people, it's not that way. And there's something under the surface and there's something that most of the time it's like people are not living true. They're not living real. And it's because it's scary to do that. It's scary. And
yeah, when it comes to, you know, fighting for these sort of relationships, when I said that the ecosystem needs this balance. So you have people like you out here creating all these different things and, you know, spewing out all this wisdom about creativity and artistry and these things. And you're going to need these people that just want to build a road. Yeah. Or just want to, you know, file away files or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Because we're going to need both of those things, because you're not finna do that shit.
No.
Because you don't want to do that shit, but we need those files filed, and we need those roads built while you're over here creating, you know, clothing and music and stuff like that. So we're going to need all these different things.
Right.
But as far as the, you know, the fighting for these different relationships, I have found a certain mold, definitely through a lot of it through mushrooms and a lot of yoga as well.
Right.
Because I feel like the combination of the two, like doing seated stretches whilst on psilocybin, to me, I feel like is the quickest way to God.
Right.
And because it allows a mental looseness, right, as well as a physical looseness. So now your muscles feel like gel, right? And you have this mind-muscle connection, and you're starting to feel all the tension and anxiety leave your muscles as you're doing all these different stretches. And it allows you to sort of enter this ether, enter this whole looseness, to where you feel no sort of rigidity in your body and in your mind whatsoever, and allows you to kind of enter that space and be a gel for whatever space that you're interacting with. And that does feel the realest. It does feel like the truest way of being when you're in that mode. And it seems so much easier to interact with everything. You're not constantly trying to control every little thing around. And so when it comes to relationships, you know, I kind of have a faith that things are, one, they're far greater than I am, right? They're far greater than all of us. And so it's just one big story, right? A million, billion, trillion different stories of things happening all at once. And it's not up for any one of us to try to control that thing happening. So when people come into your life, they come into your life, and then when they leave, they leave. And, you know, I've had people, you know, drift away and come back, and drift away and come back, and people come and they stay for good. And that seems just to be the way of things. So when people feel as though whatever space you all are occupying is just not the time, it's not the space for them at that moment, I haven't really been one to fight that. You know, I'm kind of like, okay. Like, I understand.
That's it.
You know, and if we see each other again, then we do. We'll hopefully we'll have the presence of mind to be able to live out that moment as true as possible. And then we'll see what that moment has in store for us. But at this moment, if that's how you're feeling, that this isn't the right space for you, then you should definitely go. You know, and so that's sort of how I treat that space, is the way that I try to treat all the spaces. Like, that's okay. Like, I don't want to force you to be here. I don't want to force you to do anything. Just do what you feel.
Absolutely.
You know?
And it's better that way, just so it's like you aren't wasting energy, because it's like they're not as well. Because it's one of these things where like I said, like we were saying even earlier, it's like with high school, it's like college, you see the same thing, where it's just you see people trying to fit into these spaces, trying to fit into. So I saw it very early on where people just get lost in in the pursuit of just trying to be in a space. And so it's like, and it's like, and it just eats them. It's like not as effortless. You know what I mean? For some people, it's like, because you talk about it, it's like it's very effortless. It's a very like, this is what should be. That's so hard for people. You know what I mean? That's such a hard thing for people to do or grasp, that can happen. It's like, but we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be this now. This doesn't fit into my plan as to what, but that's why I say, like what I say before, it's like these moments are gonna like happen, whether you're on the straight arrow or whatever. Because even those people like I say, even with like the energy of the Latin people in the back that's washing the dishes, or people making roads, or people filing, it's like the thing with like some of those people, they might like have some of the most potent life experience or real shit. Like even niggas in the hood you don't know, like that you're just like, oh, they, you know, I don't know who they are, da 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 da. Probably have the most potent life experience, crazy side quests that you've ever seen in your life. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like worth more like than just somebody who was rich the whole time and just like, you know, invested to a business. And then, but it's like, it depends on like, it's all point of perspective, but it's just like, I just favor that more. I favor more like, yeah.
So you know, Mark, glasses. He's got the hair that parts to the side. He's really funny.
Yes,
right.
I like Mark.
Mark is,
whenever we, because I think he's another one warming up.
Yeah. He'll take some time to warm up the people. He was on. I just released his episode yesterday. He's
nice.
He's super fun guy. I love him a lot. He, along with most other people that will come on this podcast or that will in the future, feel like they don't have much to offer. Right. So that's a lot of like,
I feel like it's funny. I love when people like self-deprecating humor and people like that. He is definitely
1000%.
He is definitely that. And it like, I love it when it's like, they like, a lot of people will splice it out. They'll like drop it out in little things. Cause I'll ask fun. I like at work, like I'll always ask fun questions. Cause I like having fun. Like I just like doing like, it's like, I'll say like, what are you up for Christmas, little girl? What are you up for Christmas, little boy? And he's just like, I just want to be happy. I'm like, oh man. Wow. I was way deeper than I thought you were gonna say, like a sweater. I don't know, or some funny answer. But that's what I like.
He's great.
Yeah, but what I like is like that question could breed for either thing.
Yeah.
Like some people will be like even like one of our other friends at work, Darwin, like he like was like, you know, I'm content, you know, I like what's going on. I like, and it's like, if you're not content, you know, like you'll never, you know, be satisfied and da 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 da. I'm like, damn, that was
some interesting fucking answers to this question.
Yeah. And then like some people will be like, some of the girl surfers will be like, a yacht, like the fuck, like yachts, we gonna be on that yacht. Like hell yeah.
There's a lot of different types of desires out there for sure. So he feels like, you know, he didn't have much to offer, so he was like, you know, why would you want me on a podcast? A lot of people have felt that way. And I'm like, you know, you're the only you that has ever lived, right? Like you're the only person that can speak from your perspective, right? Now he said something to me that I had never heard before, which was, yeah, but just because something is singular doesn't mean that it's valuable. And I was like, that's also interesting because we do tend to highly commodify things that are singular.
Yeah.
Like if you thought
like being individual, and we're in that sort of space as well.
If all the governments around the world decided that for some reason they were going to ban pizza, they were like, you know what, pizza, we're done with this shit. Yeah. It's not good for, we got to do something about this pizza. We're only going to sell 100 more pizzas and that's it. Pizza's done.
Pizza's done.
Do you have any idea how valuable those pizzas? Do you know what people would purchase these pizzas for? You can buy a pizza right now for $30.
Yeah.
Do you know if they were going to sell the last 100 pizzas and then they were going to discontinue pizzas forever, they were going to be extinct?
Yeah.
Do you know how expensive those pizzas would be? Do you know how expensive the last pizza would be?
Oh my God.
You know how much money someone would pay for the very last pizza that was ever going to be seen?
I would just have to be in the space because I'm not paying for that pizza.
You're not going to pay for that pizza, but someone's going to pay.
But I need to be in that space though, because I want to be in that pizza party.
And they're probably going to dehydrate it and frame it on like a golden frame, and that's probably going to be one of the most expensive pieces of art ever. You see what I'm saying? And we're talking about pieces. When there's a one of a watch, or a shoe that's about to drop or something like that, and it's like they're only dropping 7 of them.
Yeah.
All right. And now, all right, very valuable.
Yeah.
All right. We're talking about humans. Why is it that the shoe is more valuable? Okay. Why are we looking at the shoe or the watch like that has much more of a value than the perspective
That's crazy.
of a human?
You just dropped a gem right there.
That is one of one.
Because I was like thinking of the pizza. I was like, oh, damn. But I think of people that way.
Yeah.
I already do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
already do.
So my brain like didn't even think in that space because I'm already like we are already like the main characters of our video game. Like I already am like that's what it is. Because you think about yourself that way. Like I think about my life as like this is the epic story of you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, but everybody has that. Like everybody has like their epic story of them going on right now. So that's just like so crazy. And it's like once you realize that, it's like, damn, like taking life and perspective and people, like it's more just like that just becomes that's why it becomes more valuable to be a gel in a space. Cause you're just like feeding off of whatever you're given. You know what I mean? And that's so potent. That could be so potent. It can be so potent, you know?
The philosophy of the yin and the yang, the balance and things has always been interesting to me. And, you know, you say for a second that, you know, like in your heart of hearts, you know more than you think you know.
Yes.
And I think that there is something deep to that because I think that there is an innate navigational tool, right? That if you truly do get in tune with what people talk about a gut feeling. If you truly do get in tune with yourself, like you can sort of move through this space like Neo in the Matrix.
Absolutely.
You sort of can just know where you should be and what it is you are naturally drawn to, the people, the things, the spaces, and then the things that you kind of want to move away from. But like you have to get in tune with yourself and listen to your body and be able to navigate that way. And in that way, I do think that we know more than we think we know, and that there are all these distractions and things and fogs that get in the way and obstruct that view for ourselves. And the balance here is I think that maybe we overthink it, and it's because that we think that we know more than we do, that we obstruct our own vision sometimes. Right? Because maybe we know more than we think we know intuitively, innately, like in our soul, in our spirit, in our bodies. But then maybe there's also this other thing where we think we know far more than we actually do. You know, I think both exist at the same time, where you also get in the space where you think that you have much more of an understanding of things than you really do, sort of like the awareness you had in middle school, thinking like, oh, I know what this click is, I know what this click is, like I know what all this is. And somehow that was just obstructing you being able to mold into the different spaces. And I think that being a gel and being curious enough to allow yourself to continue to absorb from all the different spaces around you, I think that what obstructs doing that is thinking that you already know. Because what's the point of you opening yourself up to the next thing, the next person, the next idea, if you feel like you already know? You already know what they're going to say. You already know what they could possibly offer you. You already know what's right and what's wrong. So how are they going to tell you any differently? You know what I mean? So I feel like there's also a bit of we think that we know far more than we actually do.
That's a good point.
And if you could, break that down and just say, well, what if I don't know? What if I didn't know, what question would I ask?
And that's the problem with society. We live in a society. Because the thing is, that's what I've always said is the problem with our world, is that we are so afraid to be wrong. We are so prideful. Like, we are so like there was like, I think like one song that I got called Fawn. And there's like one lyric where it's like, still in my process, so tell me I'm wrong. And so it's one of these things where it's just like, just not being afraid that like that you're in process, you know what I mean? That you're in a space of process. So like that's a thing where it's like people are so afraid like to take pride in that, like maybe I could be learning right now. Like maybe this is like a time where it's like if in my thing is it's like if you think you're so right, if you think you are so like you got it and you're ahead of it and all this kind of shit, then take the risk. Stand on business then. Like, what the fuck? It's like, you know what I mean? The real gangster shit is I know and I'm aware and I'm confident and I have faith in what it is that is true. Then fuck it, let's do this. Then let's jump in the deep end because you got it then.
Right. And then we'll see.
That's what I'm saying. But that's real confidence. And you feel that off of people. You feel people who are really confident. Like you really feel people who are like confident and open and who are really that. And really know who they are, really, and because it's like people, it's like whether you feel them like putting on a front or they think they're this or da 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 da, and it's like I know, like you know what I mean, like it's like one of these things where it's like I don't know, it's just more like it's just boring. It's just like it's boring. It gets boring after a while, does it not? Like that's what I'd ask those people. Like, are you not bored? Like, what the fuck? Are you not like...
a lot of people are bored.
Like...
A lot of people are very bored.
And you talk to them, they're bored, they're unsatisfied. And it's like, this is why. Because you think you're so right, or you think, like, this is the way you gotta do it, and I know there's no way... It's like if you know... That's my main advice to people. Because, fine, most people think they got what they got. So, test that then. Test that. Because once you test that, it's like, you know, like, okay, cool. Then I'm this. And this is what it is. And I don't like that. And I like what I'm doing. You know? But most people haven't even, like, that's why I say to people, because there'll be people asking me, like, oh, how do you come up with ideas? How do you, like, still stay creative? All that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of people straight up just, like, don't even, like, write it down. They don't even put it in their notes. Like, and that's the part where nobody is going to see it. You know what I mean? Like some people don't even do that part, you know? And that's the crazy thing. Like some people are afraid of like, you may not even put this out and you haven't even written it down, but you like the idea and now it's like gone because like, I don't think anybody is going to like this. You're thinking about what anybody is going to think. And that's why I say we're not built for that. We're not like built to market things all the time. Once that's why I say like it's the art first, then it's the marketing, then it's like this and that and blah blah blah. Then it's like the rollout and all this and all that, like how you do that. But the art is first. You know what I mean? The human is first. Your experience is first, and then it's like all that. Like, how do I make it palatable for other people? You know what I mean?
Yeah, my heart goes out to a lot of the people that didn't grow up in spaces comfortable enough, because I think that comfort seems to be the thing.
Yeah,
like people will express, people will gel and mold and become more curious and listen and change their views on things if they're in a comfortable enough space.
Yeah,
I think that people are to be looked at as children.
Yeah.
And if you give them that space and you give them that patience and you give them the time, you give them.
But that's another thing too. People want to. It's growing up so fast. Like you have to grow up. You have to be this right now. And another thing I was thinking about even days before even coming on this is like the idea that like one to say like the idea of it's. Being an adult will happen. Do not worry about growing up. That shit's gonna happen, motherfucker. That shit is gonna happen, bro. Like, you do not have to worry about growing up. It will hit you like a truck. Like, and that has nothing to do with anybody else. It will hit you like a truck. Growing up will hit you like a truck. It doesn't matter what you wear. Doesn't matter who you hang around. Doesn't matter what you do. Growing up will be there. You know what I mean? But it's like people have this idea of how to dress and how to be and what music to listen to. And this is what it means to be a grown up. It's like, it's whack. It will happen. It'll happen. Don't like, you know what I mean? Like, just like, you know, fit like this like circle into a square hole because like it's what you're supposed to do. It's like one of these things where it's like that's just gonna drive you insane. And it's like it, and you see it. Like I see it. Like there are people who just like, even at work, like I'll talk to just about their personal lives. It's like if they don't reach this thing at this point, then my life is over. And it's like, but it's not. It won't be. You know what I mean? Like somebody like even like there was an acting teacher that opened me up to that idea where it was like I was thinking of like I was working on a character. And there was like a line that I was like afraid that I would say like in a corny way. And like I didn't want to say it in that corny way. And it was just this idea that it's like, if you're thinking about it being corny, it's probably not going to be. And that's how you got to kind of treat life.
If you're thinking about
like
it
if
being
you're
corny.
Yeah, if you're thinking about, oh, I'm going to be too serious. Oh, I'm going to be la, 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 la. Like if you're probably not, you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Because you're already like, so you've been enveloped. Like this is not like me saying it is not the first time you've thought about it. Like you've thought about it this whole time.
It makes me think about that K-pop song Lucifer you're talking about. Like the angst you feel about going and speaking to a girl and like, am I about to trip over my words? Am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to...
And love is a whole love and attraction. It's so funny. I say everything that I say right now, and it just goes straight out the window.
That's so funny.
Like love and like everything. It's like it's. I say the human parts I've said are like all true, but it's like advice, anything that it can go. Anywhere.
I feel you. A lot of the women, a lot of the women I've talked to have been very, very nice.
Yeah,
and a lot of them will say, if you're nervous or you're whatever you're feeling, just like just do that thing because they're gonna see. One, they know that this is a scary situation. Like you trying to do, like any like mature lady is gonna be like. This is a scary situation. I know what it is because I know how scared I would be if I had to come up to you and try to do this thing. So just like it was cute that you were nervous or that you stumbled over that word or whatever the case is. Just you don't have to tell yourself this narrative that you need to be, you know, suavecito. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not finna. Like that's not life. Like everybody's not just moonwalking through life.
Oh my gosh, no.
You know what I mean? Like
not me. I am clumsy as hell, man. Oh my gosh.
Are you currently dating?
I'm in.
Or that's not even like.
I'm in like. I'm in. I'm
okay.
in between.
I'm in. I'm
in there.
I'm in.
In there, out of there, trying to figure something out.
In there, around there.
Yeah. I'm playing the field.
Yeah, you're playing the game.
You know what I mean? I'm seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that answered the question.
Yeah.
and then some.
Yeah, man.
Okay, all right. That's so funny. And then when it gets to that realm, it's sort of just like whatever.
Dude, there's a whole podcast we could do on just love alone. I mean, it's one of, I love it because it's like one of the most honest, true, real magic things you could experience in humanity. Like it's like, because it like breaks all the things that. Like, that's why I say, when I say something about like hitting you like a truck, getting in a relationship, falling in love could just like, whoa, this is, I'm making this, like, cause then it's like one of these things where it's just like love and this and the money and class and hierarchy, all this, da 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 da. It's like sometimes like you'll do these crazy giant gestures, these billionaires you'll even see for just like one girl. And it's like, and just one person, just one special person who means it doesn't even matter. Like means all the dollars in the bank. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even matter. Like all the shit goes out the window. Like it's, and all the things that you built up and are thought, this is you, this is me. Like this is like what, like I am my career, I am my, you know what I mean? It's like in all the confidence that it's like it's all shaken. It's all shaken and tested. And it's like it's amazing and it's scary and it's beautiful.
Yeah. That's life. Life is a lot of things.
Yeah.
Life is definitely a lot of things, and you will be tested.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you've decided to orient yourself on it. Because I've never been career oriented, but I know a lot of people that are career oriented.
Yeah.
You know, they're constantly asking you the question like, "What are you going to do? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Where are you going? You're in school,
are
right?
your career. You are that.
Yeah.
You identify as your career. There is no like person outside of like, what do you do? What are you doing now? Like it's you know.
When I meet people, especially at work, you know, I'll ask a question like, "Hey, what do you like?" And they'll be like, "Oh, well, you know, I'm in school for this," or I'm like, "Oh, so you like it?" And they're like, "Oh, no, not really." I'm like, "Oh," and they're like, "Wait, what are you asking again?" I'm like, well, "What do you like?" And they're like, "You mean like what do I want to do?" I'm like, "What do you like? Birds? Do you like
hobbies?
Do you like grass outside? Like, what do you like the color blue? Like, what I'm asking you, like, what do you like? You know what I mean?" They're like, oh, you know, and then they have to rethink, and sometimes they don't have an answer.
Yeah. And that's so funny because it's like I use like similar tactic, but my thing is I really am just a do it person. So it's really like, I'll just either come up with a joke, either come up with like a question, like what movie you like what music you listen to, like stuff where it's just straight to it.
Yeah.
Like I'll do it's the same sort of tactic, but it's just more like we're cutting through like the rest. It's like, oh, okay, we're here now. You know what I mean? Because that's just like what timing I'm on, where it's just like. Well, yeah, because if their job, if their career, their job, or what it is they're in school for is the answer to the question that I'm asking, like, what do you like? Like, what do you like? Then that'll be the answer, and then we'll get into that, which is fun. Yeah. I don't feel the need to just ask you straight about that. I just kind of want to know, like, what you're about. Is it? Like, where's your headspace at right now? Exactly. And then whatever that is, that will be your answer, and then we'll go down that track. You know what I'm saying? So if that's that, or I'll be bored. I'll be like, that's it? I'm sorry. Sometimes it's like, school, that's it? Come on, bro.
You have not looked at somebody and been like, school, that's it?
I don't say that, but I'm like, you see that I've had those conversations, like literally even at work sometimes, it'll just be like, okay, that's it. Okay, I guess I'm gonna go now. Yeah, like I guess I'm gonna keep. When someone tells me, because it goes nowhere.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's it.
Because you haven't really figured out what you want to do or what you like, or it is just this, and it's like, okay. Like some people like just are very, that's it, and it's like, cool. That's like the worst part of like dating sometimes, like where it's just like you're like, oh yeah, so what do you like to do? Like or like it's like, I work. What do you work at? It's like finance. Do you like wear, or do you have any friends? It's like, yeah, I have friends. Okay.
They're also in the finance department.
They're also in the finance department. Are there any of them funny? And it's like, yeah, this girl Shelly. We're at the water cooler. He's dating this guy. He's not in finance, so, you know.
He's in engineering.
He's in engineering, so, you know, different worlds. Okay.
Bro, when people talk about this, I like, that seems to me like a clip clearly like out of some sketch comedy or some shit like that. Because I'm just like, damn, is that really happening? Like, do people really be on dates like that where it's really that dry? Where,
I mean,
because because that's wild to me.
That's why I hate it on the apps. I was like, man, like,
it's wild that a human would come out of their house to go on a date with that sort of energy.
It's crazy.
Like, it's wild that you would even come out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that you would even come out to meet me with that energy. Like, that's really weird. Like,
strange. Strange. It's like, are you having fun right now? Is this fun for you? What's going on? Did I already do something wrong?
Dude, I loved it, man. I love talking to people about dating. I love knowing like what's going on. Like, what are the conversations you're having with people out there? Yeah. Like, what's the weirdness? What are the weird, awkward things that are going on?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, because I've heard stories of people just like, girl be on a date and like it just gets real dry, real quiet, and she just slowly just pulls her phone out and just like starts scrolling, and then they'll pull their phone out. Now they're both just sitting there and they're just on their phones, just scrolling. Man. Possibly you're back on the app now, like trying to find the next date. Not hitting up the next person like, hey, you in the area? Like, yeah, sure, okay, I'm about to be available.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now. Yeah, right now. Crazy. Yeah,
wild.
Yeah. You see, but that's like like, it's not even just dates. They'll just be people who are that way. And
just
it's
in
just
general.
Like just that are just like, damn, like what? Like, do you just really? There's just nothing else happening, huh?
Yeah, you know. This is the same idea of
or it's just not fun. Like you have stuff happening, you're just like, it's just your life is not about fun. It's not about, it's like, it's my life. Like we're like in this age where it's just like, you know, like things are not supposed to be fun, or that's what it's like, you know what I mean? Or like things are supposed to be, they're supposed to be, you know what I mean?
Is that the grind? Is that the grind? The hustle, the hustle mentality?
Wake up and grind, you know what I mean? And it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I also feel like certain people just, when you talk about frequencies, I truly feel like certain people are just not meant to mesh, and you'll know that when you meet people that you are meant to speak to, right? Because it's so easy. Yeah, like you all just start, like you and I started talking. Boom. Like we don't even have to like acknowledge it with words. Like we know immediately.
But I've had, and it's like, that's what I was telling you before. Like New York is like so great for testing that out. Like if you ever go visit there, just like spend time there.
Any particular part of New York? Like,
I mean, anywhere, dude. Okay. Literally anywhere. Like I guess for me, I feel like it's like, because I think I give off an energy of like, I'm ready to meet somebody, but it's like, there'll be times it's like, there was one job I was doing, and it was like right when COVID started. So it was one of those like bullshit COVID jobs, but like you could milk a lot of money out of the government for it. But it was like, it was like just going around and being like, hey, will you get a appointment for a vaccine? And you set up these appointments and stuff like that. But you could just fuck off. Yeah. Like the people just could give you a box, give you hand sanitizer. You go around. You're supposed to do this on your phone, but they're not checking you. Yeah, you could just walk around. Yeah, and you're making $22 an hour. It's crazy. Yeah, and so me and this one dude, like I could tell he had like earrings and piercings, stuff like that. Like another fashion dude, like. And like immediately caught eyes. It's like, we're gonna be partners. Yeah. And then, but we walked out. We're in Soho, and Soho's like fashion place. Yeah. So we're like, boom, talking about shit, and like we're like smoking now, and it's like, but we didn't say any words. It was just like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
It was just like,
and so that's like, so whether it be general relationships or people trying to have intimate romantic relationships, there are just certain spaces where you just know. Like, we're just not really going to be a thing, and you don't have to feel like you did anything wrong if certain people don't really fuck with you, or they're like just not trying to share the same space with you, whether it be at work or whatever space you're inhabiting. You didn't have to do anything wrong. You don't have to try to people please and try to force the relationship to be something that it's not. Like, it's just y'all's frequencies, they're just not matching. Like, you're just not meant to be in that space.
Like, one of my best friend, Will, he calls that the bouncing of the energies. And that's like, and that was just, I think, a great way to put it. Because it's just like, there's just there is no bouncing of the energies, or there is like because it's a bouncing. It's like Meisner in that way, where it's like you just go, boom, 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 boom. And it's not like, and that's why it's such a good like technique to like get into like doing a scene and stuff like that, because you're just like letting go, and you're like having the conversation as the characters, and and you're back and forth. It's not thinking about, you're just going off of what, like when you are thinking too much about yourself, you know, or your character, you can just go off of what somebody's giving you. Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. And just sort of just trust that you've done the work, and you've done like, I know this character, what they like, the food, the sister, the brother, where they're from. You trust yourself. Same with you. Yeah. You just trust yourself. And so now you can just Like, but that's a lot of what it is. A lot of people just haven't done the character work on themselves. You know what I mean?
This was well done.
Yeah.
That was a great loop back around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really, really good. Yeah, those are the when people talk about sort of dissociation for the craft of improvisation.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what that is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's like, and that's why it's like, it was a loop around, but it was not like an intentional loop around.
Yeah.
Acting school just like really made me a better person. Like, I think it just made me like a more well-rounded individual. Like, it like unlocks these keys in your head that you're just like, damn, like so much more can like you can be so much more, you know? And it was just like, dang, like this, because before that, I feel like I am an artist, so it's like life is going to be in and out either way, but it was more like there was an idea, there's clear ideas. I could be on an idea of myself and I could just work that, you know what I mean? But once I went there, I was like, damn, it's like life is not an idea of yourself. And that's a hard thing. Like, it's hard, but it's a beautiful thing to realize. Because that's the thing. It's like, it's more that it's like that was a crash course in it. But other people, like, it's one of these things where it's just life is going to do that. Because it's more like it was getting the keys to things like that, you know, where it's just like, wow, like, but people will experience this in different ways as life goes on, you know, like they will find this idea of like, that I need to do the character work of myself in order to really find out what I want.
There's a very, very, what I feel like prolific Kanye line from the song Power.
Yeah.
In which he said, I just needed time alone with my own thoughts. Got treasures in my mind, but couldn't open up my own vaults.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Absolutely.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I felt that line.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like people haven't opened up their own vault, you know, like people haven't, like, and that's why, like, I want to always be that catalyst for that in spaces, you know what I mean? Like, even if there's a language barrier, even if there's this, it's just like that energy that you don't have to hide so much, you know what I mean? And I don't mind if it's like, I'm fired from this or blah, 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 da, da. It's like, I'm going to do my best, but I'm me. You know what I mean? And I'm me coming into this space as myself. And I think like that always breeds for other people to like, just want to be that. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because it's a beautiful thing to see in other people, especially like I said, those like artsy kids where it's like where they're just a little scared to do that or stuff like that. And it's, it's just great. It's something I live for. It's something I live for sure.
So here, I won't get, super, super deep into detail, but there was a day, where we were working and there was smoke everywhere.
Oh yeah, man.
You described that day as a fever dream.
A fever dream. Absolutely.
There was heavy smoke everywhere.
Yeah.
To get through this quickly and to get to the point I'm getting to is I left.
Yeah.
Right. Later on the next day, I learned that I was the only one that left. And people were like, damn, like, that motherfucker really just left. Like he really left. And there were other people that were like, I didn't know
you could do
that was an option. Like that didn't even come into my brain space. I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
And that really took me aback.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. It was interesting because sometimes in life, like you will make a decision that to other people is not an option.
It's just not an option.
You're like, what do you mean you did? It's like, I did. I put one foot in front of the other and I alternated.
Yeah.
And at one point I was no longer in that vicinity.
Right.
And so, I try to stay very cognizant. And people, by the way, lovely people on this podcast and my personal life often have kept me accountable of remaining cognizant that there are certain options that pop into my head. Yeah. And I don't know who I even have to give that grace to, whatever, all the gods, all the universes, the whatever, know, and all the powers that be, because I don't know where the fuck ideas come from. Right. Like they just come and I'm like, oh, thank you.
Right. Literally.
Thanks.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fuck, it's not me.
Right.
And I just know that these same ideas are not popping in everyone's heads. Mm-hmm. So I give grace. I give grace because, it seems easy for you to gel. It seems easy, for you to understand that there are these very, very deep and profound states of flow that seem truer than anything, that allow us to connect with people and ourselves and the world in a way that seems real and it seems beautiful and seems natural, not like the world that we've built around ourselves, right? In modernity. Yeah. And I just, when I speak to people and I look at them, that's a lot of what this podcast is about in these days is I want all the perspectives. Yeah. Like I'm a collector now. Yeah. Like I collect
and
these
I could tell
like Pokemon. Like I'm just like every person that sits in front of me, they have no idea what's happening for me. Right. Like I just get to collect all the perspectives of people that will speak to me. Mm-hmm. And just continue to build up the perception of what this world is and what people are and all the different feelings and all the nuances that come within those feelings. Right. And I just know it's very difficult for people and people are very scared to make a decision. Yeah. And people are paralyzed from standing out from the crowd. Yeah. And being like, oh no, they're smoking here. I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. Right? They're like, oh, I can't. Everyone else is still here, so I can't. Mm-hmm. What am I going to do? Be the first to do X, Y, Z? Yeah. When to some other people, it comes naturally to be like, I'm going to be the first to do X, Y, and Z. Like, you're not even thinking about it as being first. Right. You're just like, I'm going to do this thing. Right. Yeah. And you just happen to be the first to do some shit.
Because literally, I haven't been there long, so I might not even have the right, but I was thinking the same thing. Bro, I was about to do the same thing.
Bro, I've been there 2 months more than you. So I'm also fresh.
Oh yeah? Yeah. You feel like a veteran.
Yeah, I know. It comes off that way, but I'm fresh. I'm very, very new there. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't gonna go down.
It's time. No, and I feel that way those points, I'll relate with Kanye too, is the anger. The anger, sometimes it's I will snap. And it's I am very nice and stuff like that, but I will snap if it's not. And I'm not there anymore. And I could see that with him. I totally get that.
You know that's so funny.
It's the snap, because it's this is so obstructing my reality. So it's I'm fighting against that. And that's the other part of it too, where it's just these people feel like they can't. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. Yeah. I'm here now and we're going to do this. Yeah. It's one of these things where it's I'm very honest about that. When I'm angry it's that time. It's I'm not backing away from having that discussion. A lot of people also are very scared to stand on business in that regard. They just will not a lot of people don't want to obstruct spaces. They just want to be passive and move and keep their connections and all that kind of stuff. But it's once that snaps in my head, it snapped. And it's that's the other part of it. Or it's it's the leaving, or it's I'm not going to, or it's I'm gonna get angry. I'll do that too. I'll fight against it. Yeah. And it's just it's that one I sometimes I'll sometimes relate to. I feel I get that from my dad, but
does that usually come in moments when people are trying to constrict your artistic integrity or artistic endeavors, or Like,
nah, it's more it's more in life, because like in life it's more that people really get on these ego trips and pride trips, and they are their career, they are this thing. And so now, like, I'm about to break that. Like, you are not this. This is not all life is. Like, you need to get out of that. That's really what it is for me. Like, being like a real person out. So that's the thing where it's like you're losing humanity. And it's crazy, and I'm angry, you know, like, because that's like the thing that I hold the most dear. Like, because once that's out the window, it's like it's more that the primal side comes out, where it's more like I'm not putting on airs anymore. It's really just like, yeah, this is I'm just angry now, you know. And it's like you've forgotten. It's more those people who forget that, like, have lost that thing. And it's more like I'm gonna bring you back to reality in that regard. Or it's just like there's no walking around it like you've been walking around it this whole time. So then it's just like, oh, okay, you know. And it's like most people, there's a good amount, you know, that'll, you know, get either intimidated or they'll respect that sort of thing. You know what I mean? You'll be surprised how many people also just respect that honesty. You know what I mean? Or respect, like, oh, okay, all right, well, you know what I mean? But just there's so many people that just become their careers and become this idea of themselves. And it's like to like, and then just think that they're better than other people. And it's just that simple. It's really that simple of just like, it's those moments that, like, because with art, it's not anger for me. It's more like, I need to do this right now, so I'm going to do it. I'm not really going to ask questions. I'm not going to do this. It's like the passion's there, the plan's there. I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to, like, because people have too many ideas. People have too many ideas of where, and then after that, once it works, then they have even more ideas about, oh, how do we can market it this way and do this and that. And it's like, oh, but you weren't with it a second ago, or you didn't know what it was a second ago, and now it worked, and now, like, and that's how people work. So I don't, with art is like, I know that that's how art works. You know what I mean? Art's like so not like a part of the world we've built. It's like a part of just like our humanity. You know what I mean? That's why it's like, it's a career that's like not like, it's, I don't know. It's hard to even really say it's a career. It's like, it's more of just a purpose. Cause it's like, it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's more just like, it's not built for like the shit that we've built up. It's like, it's a thing that never dies. You know what I mean?
I take everything on a swivel. When I say that, what I mean is, when it comes to, you know, these people that you're saying, like, okay, they weren't with it, now they are with it because it worked or it popped, and now they want to learn how they can market it, commodify it, whatever the case is. Or these people that you're saying are having these ego trips and they're trying to treat people shitty because they have a title and this other person does, whatever the case is. I know that life has a funny way of working, and it may be you're up right now, right? And that person is up and they got money or they have the title. The wind is in their sails at the moment, but they lose sight of that. They think that they are the driver of all things.
Right.
And there may come a time where they're down. You know, they're down now. They're down on their luck. They're down on their relationships, whatever the case is. Like you said, life is going to teach you in certain ways. If you're not getting in tune with that, that's sacred. And so I have a firm understanding of that. So it's never for me to try to kick anyone while they're down. It's never for me to really praise anybody while they're up. I just know that things are just moving. And when it comes to people in relationships can be fickle.
Yeah.
And so I don't ever assume that because I had a certain relationship with you today that it's going to be the same tomorrow. There are so many things that change the way humans feel on a moment to moment, day to day basis a war could have broke out. They could have people over in that country that's on their mind. Someone in their family could have got sick, in that 24 hours. They could have got sick. They could be dealing with something mentally. You just have no idea what's going on. And like the multitudinous, incalculable amount of factors that go into what a human is and how they could be feeling about something. I just never assume that things are the same because they never are the same.
Yeah.
So I go into every new interaction with someone, even if I've interacted with them 1,000 times before, like, let's see what today gives us.
Yeah.
Like I'm just open to who they are today. I try to see people as newly as possible. There are clearly memories of that person before, right? But I just try to see them as new as possible and like who they are in this space right now. It allows me to kind of clear the slate in a way.
Yeah. And that alone is, being the gel of the space.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's really like,
I don't like holding grudges.
Yeah.
I don't,
And that's being a gel because it really is like you're just going off of what you're given. And it's like, and it's easier that way because you have like memories, ideas of yourself. But because for me, I try to live in the most like, because I already know that it's like I'm going to work, I'm going to do this, I'm going to da-da, and I'm ambitious, and goals, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, try to live in the most relaxing, taking yourself gently as much as you can, because it's like, I just think it's exhausting to like move with all the weight of what you are and all the weight of what somebody else is. It's like, that's why it's like so much, like I don't like care about a lot of that shit, like until I get to it. You know what I mean? It's like, and that like allows life to be life and the beautiful thing that is life. You know what I mean? Like it allows for it to just unfold and you to be a part of working with, God and faith and a spiritual path and, being in tune with the universe. It allows you to just be in that timing when you're just like, I know myself and I'm just going now. You know what I mean? Rather than taking on the weight of like what this career is and who this is. Because it's more that a lot of people don't really trust themselves. Like, because it's one of these things where you got to trust that, okay, I am at this job. I've worked to get to this point, or I am doing this right now. I've worked to, I love it. I'm going to work. I'm going to do it. So leave it at that and just kind of go. You know what I mean? A lot of people, it's not that simple, where it's more just like there has to be all these little things, but it's like, it's really as simple as that.
Something interesting has made me remember this because we were talking a little bit about it before we started recording about serving. Something interesting about serving is I hear from a lot of servers, and I have felt this in the past. I've overcome this, but feeling as though they can't really be themselves, feeling as though they are lesser than, right? Doing this sort of job.
Really?
Then I get that fucks with people's mental as well.
Yeah.
I've heard, even like recently, I've heard comments from certain guests saying things like, go ahead and clean up this table. Like you don't want it to affect your tip.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that's pretty steep. That's pretty harsh.
Oh my God.
Thing to say. Yeah, like that was a legit thing that was said like a couple weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See,
and it made me think. I was like, where does serving come from? And I started thinking about medieval times. I started thinking like, well, people were like serving, in like they were in subservient roles. Like they were serving the king, they were serving the knights, they were serving like the high class, and usually those people came from very humble places, right, to say the least. But then, time continued on and people decided, oh, well, okay, like, let's build restaurants. Let's build places where people can come and eat and we can serve them. So it's interesting that still in modern times, there's this feeling that has lingered of servers being like lesser than and like servers feeling that. And I think that there's been this thing in the service industry where I've seen the elder statesmen of the service industry teach the newer people coming in what it is they need to do to make money.
Yeah.
And it's always about like trying to heavily appease by putting on this fake smile and acting and doing all these things so that the people feel like you're a good person and they want to tip you more money.
Yeah.
And I can't, you would be so surprised. I mean, maybe you wouldn't, I don't know. But the astounding amount of servers that feel like they have to completely put on this whole face and be a whole different person in order to serve food. It's absolutely astounding. It's absolutely astounding. And I feel now that is not true.
Yeah.
I feel that if you were much more yourself, because people can feel authenticity. Yeah. And they know when you're just, I've talked to friends about it, and when they go places, like they feel awkward when a server is like overly happy and hey, how you all doing today? It's like, first of all, I just heard you over here talking to that server and your voice didn't sound like that.
Sound like this. Yeah.
So now why did you just raise 2 octaves to come talk to me? Why do you have this smile? Like it just seems real weird, like whatever is going on. As opposed to, as a lot of this is talking about, is feeling comfortable in your skin and being able to just go over, hey, how are you all doing today?
Absolutely.
And just being a regular human. Right. And having a regular human interaction, but still remaining professional and not being like, yo, what the fuck is up? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be balance.
Yo, what's good?
You know what I'm saying?
Where we at?
I see y'all brought grandma out. What up? Yeah, I see you over there.
It's her birthday.
What, you 99?
Damn, 99.
You know what I'm saying? So like, there's got to be balance. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of things on people's minds when it comes to their job and all that. So it's not always like I haven't made it to this promised land. Sometimes it's just like the thing that I'm doing to them and to everyone that they've spoken to is inherently a peasant's job or some shit like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? It so kills people's self-esteem.
Because like I've only seen it as I only see jobs as like stepping stones because like there's an obvious thing that I want to be. So it's always just entering into it as a gel in the space. So like, it's really like cause even now, even after everything that happened in New York, I was like, I just come and I work. I just work, do my thing, see what I get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's really like, it's just interesting where it's just like, I never, like even now, it's just like, I don't know. I just don't really, but I don't know. I wonder if that's also an age thing or whatever, blah, blah, where it's just, I just don't care. You just don't like, but it's also, like I said, it's like how I've existed is like, I don't really, like, I thought about this idea too, because I thought about like, being like this age and like doing this and not being figured out and everything. It's like I own like a lot of things that like, and that's why I say the whole thing about our world being the way it's built and like the idea that it's like you're not like you're not like your careers and all this stuff is because it's like everything happened and everything like that happened, but it's like really like I only care because I think that I'm supposed to care. Like, based on what society is and what I'm told, it's like, but I don't really care. Like, I'm still me. I'm still, like I said, still me. It's like the ambition's not gone. I'm still down to work, still down to meet people, still have goals. It's like, I don't know. It's like I only care that it's like, that I'm in a process or that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Cause it's like, it's definitely in it, like even New York, it's like that can make you feel like, or even social media can make you feel like, oh, I'm not getting the da. Cause like, especially when it's like in a field you want to be in, it's just like, that's when I like what I say goes out the window and I'm like, damn, like they got the motherfucking, damn, man, they got the shit, man. They got the play, they got to perform there. I could do a better performance than that. What the fuck? And blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But a lot of it is more just like the rest of life is like it's interesting just to watch because it's just like I'm not really embarrassed. I'm not really like, I'm only embarrassed about and like that's also those thoughts like are slowly fading because it's like life doesn't end. Like you're in process and you always will be until you die, you know? So it's like one of these things where like, I don't know. It's like you just got to step out and be like, do I really care? Do I care because this person says I should care, or this person's doing this job at my age, or they're doing this, or they're like blah, 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 you know, and I'm not doing that. It's like, that's a lot of what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of like what we judge ourselves on and like make ourselves feel like we should like hate ourselves almost. Like that's like where we're at. Like it's like almost normal to be like I'm gonna hate myself till I make it. You know what I mean? Just like beat myself down. It's like I don't know. It just doesn't. It's like it just hit me so much after everything that happened in New York, where it's just like, oh yeah, just don't. It's like that's why I was worried about my energy, because my energy is important, because I know I can give and I can do and all this kind of stuff. But it's like even the stuff I don't really care about, I could do it and I can like move through it. But it's more just like I only care that it's like I'm not at the end, the certain end, because that's what people only think about. And that's wild. I think that's crazy. It's like there's so much life and we're only thinking about certain ends. Like, and that's
like you're not enjoying the process.
Yeah.
You're not enjoying the ride.
And
journey.
that's even another thing in acting school where it's like you're not supposed to play the next line. You're not supposed to play the end of the scene.
Wait, all right, and now explain what that means.
Yeah, so you've read the script, you know what's going on in the scene, you know it's like, but that's why Meisner is super good, because now you're just working off of what's going on. You may know this is the climax, this is where everything hits, but the scene starts off, you're just at dinner.
Yeah.
When you're at dinner and you're talking, you know what I mean? And then it's like, you know, it's like halfway through, it's like, you know, she says something sly, and then you're like, all right, I'm in love with the maid. And it's like, well, and then the whole tone shift, but you're not playing that.
Yeah.
You're playing right now, you know, and that's the thing with comedy too, is you don't play the jokes, you just live it. And that's what people are all playing the end of the scene. That's
a very, very difficult idea to settle in, because I know what you're speaking on. Yeah. That's difficult for people to like truly get into. There has to be some sort of meditative practice, which could be very many things. There has to be, for some people it's archery. I found it in wood splitting, nice. As well as just meditation and yoga and the rest of my life. In conversation, you know, I think people have asked me often, how do you talk for that fucking long? Like, how do you, you know what I mean? How do you talk for that long and like continue to keep it entertaining or like enjoy yourself? And I think a lot of people are often playing the next thing. Yeah. Thinking about what the next thing to say is. I have no fucking idea where any of these conversations are going to go ever. Right. No clue. Right, I don't write anything down. Right. I never I don't have any question. Maybe there's like a question where I'm like, man, I would like to know this thing about them, but I don't know when it's going to come up or if it even does. Maybe I don't even get around to it. Right. I have no clue what the next couple of things that come out of my mouth are even going to be at this moment, let alone what the fuck is going to come out of you. How could I know? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not in the business of even trying to know that. Right. Like, it just happens. But I think that space, getting in that space is much easier said than done for a lot of people, and because you have to practice. Yeah. You have to practice that in various ways. So what do you do now? Or do you feel like it now at this point it just happens? I mean, now you've talked about meditation.
Yeah, meditation. Also, like another thing that I was talking to my best friend about is like, because I'm also getting closer to faith, like even like Christianity and stuff like that. But my father's also Buddhist, and I was always prayed, always been faithful, spiritual. Like I feel like if you're an artist, you're just a spiritual person. But something where it's like, because I think it's a guide, for faith. It's a guide for being in tune with the universe and God, and I think everybody needs that. And so like that's my way in to faith, and speaking of God is through Christianity, and that has also like being like diligent about faith and like working it rather than being like over here, over there, da, da, da. Like, you know what I mean? Just like having a guide for faith and these things that you can explain with life, or that people want to try to and put you down about that you don't know.
Was your mom Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
Mom was Christian.
So why do you think that you were drawn more to Christianity than Buddhist practices?
my dad, like, it's more built into the culture of Sri Lanka and stuff like that, and he like does like practice like meditating and stuff, but he's very like sciencey. He doesn't like go to the temple, do that, like read it. It's like he says he's practicing, but it's like no. Like my mom goes to church every Sunday. Is like you see the strength. Like I've seen her just dark places in our family. Just seen her at like dark spots, and has still been just so faithful and so strong. And I've seen how it's blessed her in her life now, being so faithful and being so true, to who she is. And that's the thing that I was like, and she persevered. I've seen her like just really bad spots. So it's just like one of these things where it's just like seeing her still like have faith and strength and knowing she is loved because of God. It's like, how do you knock somebody for that? I wasn't there like, what I mean? I wasn't even Christian for a long time. Or got into it. I was just always like, I always prayed, and stuff like that, and always talked to God. But it was like one of these things where like seeing that, it's like that's something that is so true and so real. Because it's like a lot of shit is like, it's so whack where it's like people are like, oh, it's just like, you just gotta push on through. You just gotta do. It's like, what? You're not even gonna assess what happened. You're not gonna show that like maybe like I could like like be loved through a situation, not just like beaten down and then I just gotta pick it up from the bootstraps. And it's like, nah. It's like there's I would tell people, it's like it's very trendy to be stoic nowadays and doing like stoicism and getting these stoicism apps and look maxing and edging.
Oh, wow. This is interesting.
And I say to people, try faith, try it, because it's one of these things where it's the same idea where it's like you trust yourself and you're faithful, and whatever happens, it's like you are the best version of yourself in every situation. But it's not about beating it into you and waking up, grind set. I grind when I sleep. I grind I grind when I wake up, doing pull-ups. Andrew Tate podcast, Red Pill podcast, right. Alpha male. Like, it doesn't have to be that. Like, faith is good because it's like it accomplishes a similar thing, but it's like coming from a place of like you are loved through that. Like you are loved and can love others and can share that with others through that. You know what I mean? Like, but you could still strive to be the best that you can, the best that you are made to be, because you are made beautifully and you are made to be the best that you could ever be. And anything that you do, the plan that you are on, the story that is going to end the best way it can for you, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to make so much more sense. Are
your meditations and praying, are they similar, or are those
meditations a bit different? Like where I might pray in between it, but then I'll also do like mantras or manifestations during it, or it's like. Sometimes like all of that can breed a lot of thoughts, because we practice meditating even in acting school too, but it was like whenever like a lot of it, you just come back to breathing. That's a lot of life. A lot of life is just coming back to breathing.
Yeah.
I'm breathing through it, and that's a lot of it. A lot of it is just breathing through pain and figuring out like, okay, like this is a painful thing, or this is a very insane and intense thing, but it's like breathing through that you're still here, and breathing through that you're still you, and breathing through that you're still loved, you know?
That made me think of this this book here from a Kate Bowler and Jessica Ritchie. It's called The Lives We Actually Have, which I feel like is very, very necessary book in the ecosystem out there. But it's pretty much just about honing in on the life that you actually have, and not trying to compare that and feel lesser than just this hypothetical life that you feel like you ought to have, or whatever the case, or life that someone else has, or something like that. And so it's 100 blessings for imperfect days. So I think that they have this podcast. What is it called? The preacher Duke. So she's a Duke professor, this Kate Bowler, and she has a master's degree in religion from Yale Divinity School and a PhD from Duke University. But they have a podcast, I'm certain of, the Everything Happens podcast. But they just put together this book of blessings for every type of day that pretty much occurs in the human life, you know, and a lot of them are grief-stricken or lonely or garbage or beautiful and reverent, and they just have blessings for every one of those types of days. And I read this one today, and this one is for this painful day, and our bodies feel like the enemy. So that is, and this you just made me think of this, which is interesting that I read this today. It goes, "Blessed are you on this pain-filled day, when getting out of bed seems to be an award-worthy triumph, when you can't remember what it feels like to not be so aware of your own body, when you arrange your weeks around appointments or side effects, or when you stop telling the truth altogether about how bad it hurts, how scared you are of your own mind, or the boring details of another non-diagnosis. Because you are afraid people have stopped caring. You speak a language of suffering the world doesn't try to understand. Blessed are you whose world has shrunk to a space so small, it's defined most by what is no longer possible. You count, dear one, and so does your pain. It does not and did not disqualify you from belonging. For the truth of it is, life is painful. And what makes it so is the terrible and the beautiful, living side by side. Our loves, our losses, our limits and hopes, our successes and failures. Some would try to sell us the fiction that there's an invincibility club, and we really should join, if only we could qualify. But our God came to be cloaked in our fragility, in our humanity, to know our pain from the inside out. O suffering one, you will never, ever be left behind. You belong, you are loved, and you have never been forgotten. Come join us in the company of the broken."
Whoa. And it's like, but you read stuff like that, and it's like, how do you just go back to... Yep. It's like, how do you go back to just being like, everything else matters? Like, it's like, this is what matters. It's that simple. It's like that simple, that like our humanity matters more than it all. Like, more than your embarrassment, more than this, more than that. It's like your humanity has got to come first. Like, it's got to. Like, and it's like people like, you know, who persevere through these things, like, and just like do and just go and stuff like that. It's like, they have these like potent stories, but but it's usually those ones who are like, you know, the trash man and stuff like that, where they just like life is just hit them, so they just are like doing. But it's like you could see they're the funniest people. They're the most real people, you know, because they're just so like, you know, just like honest about what this is. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's like you can do that with anything. You can be that way in any career. It's just you got to decide like how you want to move through these things. You know what I mean? It's like it's I don't know. It's very weird that it's like, you know, like how we've built it's like, even like thinking the other day, it's like the world is built like against this. It's built only against these things. It's not like it advertises that you're built to win. You're not. You're not built to win in this. Like, as a human, as all the like intricacies of what you are and the stuff in that book, like even mentioning diagnoses and appointments, like these are things like very like a part of the system. It's like, yeah, we're not built to win on that. You know what I mean? It's like it's even like if you are winning, it's like I was thinking about it in my head, like you see any of these like ads for jobs, any kind of, everybody is exhausted. Everybody is tired. Everybody, like you said, stressed, anxious. Like, why is like nobody happy? Like they're happy maybe in their lives, but it's like maybe, but it's just like they like in their jobs, like it's just like it's like they're exhausted. Everybody is tired.
Well, what's interesting is there are a lot of places on the planet where people do work hard.
Yeah.
And they're not nearly as tired and anxious and depressed. Right.
Yeah.
And
as also other countries are not as individualistic. I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah.
Like I even just came back, went to Spain with my dad. And it was just one of these things where it's just like you walk around, it's like they're all beautiful people, but it's just one of these things where it's just like they're not like obsessed with like, but this is how all cultures have kind of been. They're very like, and I was talking to you, my uncle was visiting the other day, like other countries care about sustaining their like cultures and their buildings and their values and their music, and they just care about that more. And they care about them together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they care about like, yeah, we're going to rise and stuff like that, but we're going to do it together as us. You know what I mean? And there's something really valuable about that. You know what I mean? There's something that is like valuable about that. And in America, it's like beautiful in the way it's like you find your tribe. You find the people who like get that and are with that. And that's a beautiful thing. But it's like overall, it's like very individual, you got to beat the other man. It's not very like family oriented, which is like what we are. We're family oriented. Like we're like not built to, we got to kill the next man to get to the top. And that's how we like, you know, succeed in the American dream. It's like what? It's like,
well, what's interesting is the introduction to that book. So she's Canadian, I believe.
Right.
And she's like, you know, nothing against Americans, but the American dream is that people that have come up in the world, they're self-made and they made it happen. They manipulated the world in such a way that brought them all this greatness, and that if you are not where they're at, you couldn't do what they did.
Yeah.
And what she really wanted to exhibit was that a lot of what life is and what a lot of what our lives are is what happens to us, not what we do with life, but what happens to us, because life be happening to motherfuckers. Like, and you just can't say, oh, you broke ass bitch, you didn't grind and get after it, when like I was born with an eighth of what you were born with. Like, what do you like? I was born next to a volcano. The shit just erupted. We all had to evacuate. Like, I didn't have the same, what do you mean? The shit's fucked up around here. I was in Lahaina, Maui earlier this year.
Right.
And then a fire overtook that shit a couple of months after I left. that's a real story. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes life just happens.
And
a
some
tsunami
people
comes
really
through,
gotta like. It is crazy. It's just like people tap into that and then forget. Like they just get that and they'll post about it and then they're out. It's like, sure, you don't have to like always be active about it, but take it in. Take it in like life can happen. And it's not just this. And it can even happen around you in a smaller scale, but it can happen. And it's crazy. People just forget.
Yeah.
Because you're not built to care. It's like, what? Caring? I gotta advance. This caring. I cannot.
I'm trying to get to this bag, nigga. Fuck is you talking about?
What are you talking about? The fuck? Can't be worried about broke ass.
Ain't worried about these broke ass niggas. What fuck is you talking about, nigga? I'm trying to get to this bag. Nigga. Fuck is you talking?
Yeah, I was there, and it was really bad. I will say, I didn't know what to do, but. You know, did well at that one job interview after 20 times, which is what the fuck it is too. And like, it's just the logic is so off. It's so off sometimes. Or it's just like, it's just off. It's just the logic is off. Logic is off.
Yeah, there have been moments when, you know, I've been, the thing that helps me understand is I feel like I've been iterations of a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've been the extremely ignorant person. I've been the very judgmental person. I've been all of them.
Yeah.
I've been the liar, the cheater, the stealer.
Right,
I've been them all.
Right.
And so I know just lack of perspective.
That's all it is.
You know what I mean?
That's all it is. But I think in general, our values need to switch up. I feel like in general, because I feel like we get to those points and we're at those points first because it's just survival. That's just like what we've survived on. That's just what's worked. You know what I mean? Because like you can't be weird in this space. You can't do this in this space. You can't be da 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 da. It's like it's not proper. It's not da 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 da. It's like so you just don't like you just it's just doesn't feel like it's built for us. Like it's just weird. It's like this is our world and it's not like built for the animal that we are.
Yeah it's moving very fast.
Yeah
it's moving very, very fast. I just try to live simply. I just try to bring it back and bring it back and bring it back because there's more than enough you know going on around me all the time, you know, like I don't have to try to beat it in that race. You know what I mean? So I just try to relax.
And it's like the thing is like on the other side of it's like a lot of that stuff that is there's a lot of it that's so cool. There's a lot of it that's so sick. Like even podcasts, it's so cool. Like this, I love it. It's just, but and it's how it's more like my thing I tell people is it's like it's about understanding what it is and then doing it your own way. You know what I mean? It's like, it's about understanding that the world's moving or understanding like this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, but you don't have to adhere to it, but it's like you can figure it out and do it your own way. You know what I mean? And that's like been the most fun part about like all of it is just like, oh, cool. I know that this is a thing. So let me try to do it my way. And the stuff like that will just, you kind of just got to like not catch up with it. It's more like, be aware of it and see like what do you like with it, you know what I mean? Like, but don't like shun it out or like be like, oh, like it's I don't know, you got to find a balance with it.
Balance. Balance is difficult. I've had discussions with people about balance recently, and in particular the word grace, because grace has been very interesting to me.
That was what I was working with too.
I was talking to someone and she was like, I don't like that this person that we both know, that everyone talks to them like they're their friend to their face and then talk shit behind their back. And I was like, even though I understand your perspective in that, I think that what you're looking for out of people is very, very difficult to achieve, which is grace. Because what you're saying is when this person, this friend of ours, is talking to other humans, you want the other humans to either do one or two things. You want them to either be very honest about what they feel, right? About what it is that person is saying to them, meaning they have to agree or disagree. Like, I think that what you're doing is some bullshit. Like, that's stupid. Or I really agree with what it is you're saying. In order to expect human beings to do that in a social situation, one, like, most people are going to lie to someone when someone's with like living a pretty sad life and they're constantly like, you're not just going to be like, man, like your life is fucked up. Like you should really do X, Y, and Z and try to fix this out. Like most people are not going to do that. They're just going to be like, oh, they're going to like play along with you, act like it's all cool, whatever. And then they're going to go to their friend, 5 feet away and be like, yo, this bitch just told me this. Like she's fucking crazy. Like, yo, you hear this shit about her? That's what's going to happen. And it's mostly because people are lacking the grace of knowing that they don't have to choose, that they don't have to, in that moment while talking to that person, they don't have to give their perspective on whether they feel like that person is living, a dastardly sort of life or that they're living a beautiful life. Like you don't have to choose either one of those. So I was explaining to my friend, most people, when they're speaking to people, they don't know that when they are contributing to a conversation, that they don't have to give their perspective, like that they don't have to give their opinion on something. Oh yeah, you could just listen. You could just listen. You could give perspective by talking about a story that you've heard, or just asking more questions. You know what I mean? Like there are many ways that you can interact as opposed to saying I agree or I disagree with what it is that you're saying. But it's very, very difficult for people to know how to do, especially on the fly. And so therefore you're either going to get someone that's brashly honest and being like, why are you living like that? Like, that's ridiculous. I don't agree with that. Or you're going to get the people that lie to her and then talk shit behind her back later. So it's like, as I understand your perspective, the grace that you are wanting for people to display in on the fly improvisational conversation in front of this person, that's unrealistic to expect from the average human. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But that's also perspective. Right. Just knowing that people are dealing with like a ton of different things and they're constantly coming in waves and ebbs and flows. And I try to do my very best to listen to people, to understand where they're coming from, to gain their perspective, to be curious and ask questions, and to not throw my judgments on them like I would know. What's interesting about telling people what they ought to do is not only are you coming from a place of thinking that you understand all of the factors in their life and their situation, because that's funny on its own, but it's also funny that you think in all those situations that you know what you would do. And that's because I have a suspicion, a strong one, that a lot of people don't know what they would even do if they were actually in a certain situation. Because I've seen many people say that they would do one thing and then do another when put in said situation. So the giving of advice in that way has always been, well, not always been, but more so recently in life, been a lot funnier to me. But I think that a lot of what we've spoken about is trying to give grace. Right. Trying to understand that there's just a lot that we're not in tune with and understanding in any given moment, especially when it comes to other people's lives. Getting back to what they do in this book so beautifully, but just understanding that a lot of life is pain. In that there's a lot of that going on constantly, and to dismiss people based upon the way that they look, like you told me that story of craziness. You know what I mean? Or like, or because of someone's job. These things that take a lot of moments for someone to gain the wisdom of, it takes a lot to experience these things and then try to render them into words so that people can understand them. Because the whole, like, why shouldn't you care that you're doing this job versus this job? Like, why shouldn't you care that you have this title versus this title?
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to be able to put that into a format for people to understand, like, why shouldn't you care about these things? It's very, very difficult. And I'm not necessarily going to try to achieve that right now.
Right.
But there is a perspective involved, and I feel like the more perspective you get from talking to more people, from seeing more people, it just starts to become an innate understanding, right? Because there are people that do very, very hard work, very hard jobs, and they make a very honest living, taking care of their family and their friends, and they're great people. And if you were to see that person and you really knew those people, like you really knew those people, like would you really look down? Like, would you really still look down on that person? You know, you just need to know more of those types of people that are really good people. And you're like, damn, I know some people that have 20 times the amount of money or things that these other people do, but those people are kind of shitty and like they're mean and they're rude and they're condescending. But these people are like really bright and they're loving and they're genuine and they just seem real and grounded, and they don't have nearly as much as these other people do. And vice versa, you also have just they're assholes everywhere. So it's kind of just like gaining this perspective of, but you got to talk to people, you have to see things, you have to remain open to these things. And it gives you a calmness about life. What I will say about psilocybin is that, see, if you give me room, I'll go on tangents too. Well,
this is a good one though. This is a good one though.
I always say the most sweeping lesson that I've learned from them is that there's this general sense of everything is okay, and it's not based on the basis that you're gonna be okay, that you're just going to be healthy, or that life is going to just throw you a fortune at every turn. It's not that sort of okay. It's just that life is taking its natural course, and you are just a speck of dust inside of it in that course. And it's more so that understanding. It's not about you. And it's not about the people you're around. It's about the whole. It's about understanding your significant insignificance in everything.
You know what helps with that? Like sometimes I like when I get like I'll be like super high, like those like times where you're just like zonked out of your mind, like those times that just happen, where you're just keeping up with friends and you're like, okay, all right, they definitely smoke more than me, because I don't smoke on a regular. I only smoke like with friends, and those times where it's just like there'll be friends who just smoke a blunt, and then there'll be friends who are ripping the bong like crazy, and you're like, okay, I am out of my
league, out of my mind and out of my league.
And so you get home, you sleep, but those are the moments I like getting into the like space bag. You know what I mean? Thinking like, and I'll even listen to another like underground podcast. Probably heard of maybe not even heard of it, Joe Rogan. So he'll talk to some of these like these scientists that'll be like astrophysicists and stuff like that. But they'll talk about, and what I've always been interested in, the spaciness is like just like how big, you know, our universe is. Like if you want to be reminded of how insignificant,
Neil deGrasse Tyson,
if you want to be reminded of how insignificant you are, like listen to those, because there are dimensions, there are planets, we're a speck in our own Milky Way, and there's other like millions of Milky Ways. I'm like, what? But there's like a ton of planets within one of the, like, I don't even know, thousands. I probably even might be like being polite about it. Like I think there's thousands and thousands of planets in one Milky Way, but there's multiple Milky Ways. I'm like, huh? Like the fuck? You know what I mean? And like even the idea of like dimensions, where there's like another dimension where it's like, you know, you're doing a completely different thing, or there's something like
you're talking about the multiverses.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Which like in the mainstream we've been like very, interested in and stuff like that. And that, but thinking of those things, like thinking that you are like, you literally scientifically are like a speck in such a story. You know what I mean? It's like in such like, in this giant thing that is, you can't even fathom. It just makes everything else just like, okay.
it makes like absurdly rude and egotistical people seem so funny.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I understand your anger when you come into contact with that, because you're just like, dude, you see, relax.
Relax.
Like, bro, trust me, you're not like that.
Yes,
like
you are not.
Like, because none of us are. Like, it doesn't matter what you have amassed in your lifetime. You could have all the money. Like, I don't know if you heard.
It's like, bro, you ever heard of the rapture real quick? It's like, you want to just tell them about shit like that, where it's like, if that happens, this does not matter. Like, this order does not matter. And you're yelling about it.
It is
or you're putting somebody else down about it, which is like not even worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that where it's just like, rude to be rude, and you're just not getting this. You're not getting, something has not clicked. That it's just like, this is so big. Like, I can barely fathom the world that we live on. Like, I can't even fathom it as a whole. You know what I mean? Like, it and there's nooks and crannies of it. There's like islands that don't even know about technology that are still living in that time, which, damn, honestly, I wish I could be there, to be honest, and not know about so much, and you could just sort of like live and exist, like there'll be points I'll just be like I'll be at work, I'll be like, I think I'm gonna run off into the forest now. I think it's that time to run away. Get the bag and run away.
There are people that are definitely thinking a lot more of like how they can get away.
Like, I think it's gonna get more and more just like, because it's just, people are tired, people are exhausted, people are just like, and they're like, what am I doing though? I'm putting so much into this and I'm exhausted, you know what I mean? And it's like once you're at that point where you're like comfortable, and at the very least you're just like, we gotta do something, because this is about to explode. You know what I mean? Like, some people, it's like you look at them and they're exploding on the inside. They're exploding. Like, I'll see people, certain people at work, you're just like, it's like, oh my God, something. It's not that deep. Whatever it is probably okay. But it's like somebody said, but you saw the interaction too. Like, you'll see somebody say something, and that's just the cherry on top of all the shit. So that cherry is just like, now, like, that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
The straw that broke the camel's back. That saying is fascinating, right?
Yes. I've thought about it so much.
The straw that broke the camel's back. Just one straw too much. And
that one.
And that really does happen to people. And I witnessed this the other day, and I'll talk to you more about it off air. But, I spoke to someone that just recently had a terrible panic attack. And, they told me that they just felt like so much over the years had built up inside that they have not truly decided to acknowledge and investigate. And it was just a stressful day at work. And they just fucking started seizing up and almost fell over. And,
and that shit's real, man.
Ambulance had to come and get them. And
it's like stuff like that. It's like, my girlfriend, my last girlfriend had panic attacks. I think even the one before, like I'd always been with women where it was like, there was like self-harm issues in the past, panic attacks, stuff like that. And honestly, it's like, when you understand where it comes from, you're kind of surprised that more people don't have them, to be honest. Like like when you think about as time moves on, it's just like you're surprised like you haven't had it. I feel like I don't got it just because it's like that's me, but it's also it's like it happens in other ways. Like I'll just get angry about it, or I'm just like the whole thing I'm not taking too seriously. So it's like once it's like all not very serious, it's not like I'm not very scared about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll think it's all very funny that it's like you know, like but it's like when everything is so serious and everything is so much, which it can be. Like there are those days where it's like where just the environment is so much and everybody's just barking at each other. It's just like you're surprised other people like you're surprised like not everybody has them. You know what I mean? Like
well, I kind of go into situations with people understanding that I don't know what the fuck they got going on.
Yeah.
So when you say you're surprised that more people don't, I don't even know that the people that I think didn't have those problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know that everyone's letting everyone know all of the issues that they've had. There was a time, there was someone at work that like wanted to tell me a secret is the way they put it. They were like, "Oh, I feel like I got a secret and I kind of want to tell someone, but like I don't want to be made fun of." And I was like, "Well, I can promise you a couple things. One, you don't have to tell me, and that's fine. Two, because she just came up to me and was like, just started saying these things. Two, if you say something to me, I'm most likely not going to judge you on this. Like I most likely won't care.
Right.
And thirdly, you can also know that this is going to remain between us. Like it doesn't really matter. Yeah. And then.
And this is the point you tell me the secret.
Well, you'll realize that after this, she realized that it wasn't that, and then she ended up telling a couple other people. She was just like, okay.
Right.
So
that's also funny too, where people are like, I got a secret I don't want to tell anybody, and they tell it like everybody.
But the secret was that the music that was playing in our work, that she had realized that she was recognizing so much of it because so much of it is in her playlist. Now you're waiting for the punchline. You're waiting for what are you talking about? Like, where's the secret? I already told you the secret. That's the she didn't want to be judged because she listens to the music that plays at the work. Exactly. You're still trying to figure out what I'm talking about. She was like, I don't want people thinking like, oh, you listen to the music we play at work? Like that's whack. Like that's where her mind was at.
Wow.
Like you listen to this type of music? That's crazy. Like, ew, I can't believe you would listen to music that would be played at a restaurant. Like that's crazy. Like that's
meant to make people feel good.
Like anybody even gonna get no one even cares. Like what are you talking about? Like no one cares.
What are you saying?
No,
this is a secret?
This was a secret. You right? You know what I mean? And then afterwards someone else heard
I thought it was gonna be like this. I'm scared about the songs that are playing in here because one of my friends was stabbed to that song. I was like,
one of my friends was stabbed to it.
Some crazy shit.
stabbed
the deep-seated memory. Like it was a club, and then it was the lights were going, and the song was playing, and then boom, he was stabbed in the middle of the club, and now it was in the. I was like, damn, just it's in your playlist.
It's just in the playlist, and so I say that to say that you never know. Like what someone's harboring, you never know what little bit like someone says to you that to you seem like nothing. Like you like that right now seem like nothing to you. To her, that shit was like I don't even want to tell nobody. So like you never know when someone's giving you a piece of themselves.
Right.
So I try to remain very sensitive to like what people are looking like when they're saying certain things and. You know, how they're presenting information. Because you just never know, you know? Like, people be, like, it be deep. It be deep.
Well, I was hearing another podcast I feel like you'd like. It's called We're All Insane. And each one is, like, about a different person who's went through, like, a crazy story, like, real life story. And so, like, and a lot of them are, like, understanding of that concept because they've went through insane, crazy shit and lived to tell the tale. And they're just like, yeah, it's just, you know, people have, like, they're like, like limits of pain and stuff like that. Even like the podcast host is like, yeah, like how do you feel like getting back into life and hearing people's like bullshit problems? Like it's like, but they don't judge because they're just like it's all like people's limits of pain and stuff like that are what is what determines all of it. You know what I mean? And that's like one of those things where it's just like that's like definitely like a point where it's just like that's their limit of thing. Like
that's
that's so cute. What? Like that's it. All right.
Yeah. So it gives you a different perspective on
shit. I got some of those songs on my playlist. What?
Some of those are really, really good songs.
Yeah.
But it just gives you a different perspective on, as you're saying, the threshold that people have of what they're willing to express and be honest about, with themselves to other people. It's a lot, man. People just sorry.
Yeah.
People are harboring a lot and you just have no idea.
Yeah. And it's like one of these things where it's just like so many people are like shunned for certain things. Like you're just surprised how many people, because a lot of people like give a shit and say mean things for no reason. Like to just put somebody down and they're scared. Then they're scared about bullshit like this. Yeah. Like, cause it's like so weird. It's so like, it's so like, I don't know. It's strange.
It's all, I think it all comes back to a level of comfort.
Yeah.
The people that you're attracted to, I think you feel comfortable with them. Like the people that you're willing to express things about, you feel comfortable with them. All those things. It's all about a level of comfort. It all comes down to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really, really think it does. Like the impressionability, the level of susceptibility you have to opening your ideas to someone else's. Like it all comes down to how comfortable you feel. Because if you feel like someone's about to shun you for being who you are, or they're about to make fun of you for having the idea that you had previously to entering the discussion you're currently having with them, like they're gonna shut down.
Yeah,
and they're gonna shut off. They're gonna try to resist whatever it is you're trying to present to them. So I think it's all about like a level of comfort that person has, and you see that with children. Like children have to feel comfortable, especially around new people in order to exhibit and to absorb. And I feel like you can't take that away from adults because we are children as well. It's just all about
that's why I say the main advice is like don't grow up so fast. Don't grow up because it's like it will happen. Growing up will happen. Life will happen. It's like you kind of just and I feel like you could learn that a good amount by like even just like in New York, you could learn that. Just like stand on a street. So many things will happen without you moving.
Yeah.
An inch. Like a million things are happening. You stand and like so much happens to you. You know what I mean? Around you. And you just stood there. You know what I mean? And you can learn that in a restaurant too. Like where you just stand and there's like 50 million things
just
that
observe,
are happening. Yeah.
Look around, see what's going on. What are the vibes?
Right.
Like, who's fighting over here for the 50 millionth time? Who's giving this person a hard time? Who's about to have a panic attack in the back? Who's just making a bunch of money and saying nothing about it? You know what I mean? Who's making money? Who's making a bunch of money and saying a lot about it? Like who's just like noticing all like the ecosystem, everything that's going on?
Yeah.
No, it's fascinating.
It's funny because that's how I kind of feel because I'm like fresh. So I'm just like none of it, like all of it is still like new. You know what I mean? And all of it's like that's an observation. You know what I mean? And and all of it's like I don't like they don't know me either. So it's definitely like that's another thing it's a power too, to be people will also take that as a bad thing, but like to be underestimated, like knowing and being like faithful in yourself, it's like that could be a powerful thing to be underestimated. You know what I mean? That could work in your favor, you know? So, but everybody sees that as like, I gotta like work, but it's like there's gonna be so much newness in your life, so much change, so much, and you kind of just like have to. It's like I learned that you just kind of have to be okay with that. Learn that to like, because even like with ADHD, I think it's a main thing that you just like don't like change and stuff like that. And I would say like even before I really was into my habits, stuff like that. I'm also like an only child, so it was very much like I was, you know, and like being like artist, I was just like early on is like. It was playing with toys for a long time, playing with action figures probably till I was like 12, 13. And then it was like drawing and comic, because I was like, this is like a more better, it's like a more responsible way of playing with toys.
Let me ask you about playing with toys. Do you remember when you were doing do you remember there being a storyline?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And there was times where I would tell my mom the point of the storyline it was in, and she's like, that's good. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so great that they're friends now. They weren't before? Wow. And I would try to get her in on playing, because I was like, it was like, I thought this shit was so fire playing with toys. I'm like, damn, I gotta get over here, Ma. Like, see this? Like, this is awesome, man. Like, and like the friends I could play with toys with, it was so great, man.
Yeah.
It was just like great, because like, man, it's great. I love like that's the one thing I look forward to, like with kids. Like once they start playing with toys, once I have my own, it's like playing toys with them. Just to like do that and like get into it, you know? Because like that's even like acting and doing bits and like a lot of it is like playing with toys.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of playing with toys.
All that's so I guess when you and I talk, this is really all our conversations ever going to be about. Because everything that we're talking about is improvisation and like it's all about being a gel for the space.
Right. Absolutely.
Like when I speak to people, that's truly what it is I try to do. I haven't put it in those terms, but when it comes to playing with children, I think speaking with people, being around people is just like playing with children.
Yeah.
So like you see a child and you know they pick up a fucking shoe and it's a phone for them and they're gonna act like it's a phone, then that's the world they're in and that's what you play off of. Like, all right, that's a phone now.
Yeah.
So now if they hand it to me, it's also a phone. Like it's a phone.
Yeah.
You know, it's whatever. So I think that would be great for you because you're going to very easily be able to play with the children. Like,
absolutely.
Because you already doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's just sort of the mold I try to get in with people. It's like, what toy are you playing with today? Because we about to play with that same toy. Like I'm finna do the same shit you doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that is a golden tool, especially when it comes to being with children. But I think that you should, or not you should, but I think that it's highly effective to do the same thing with people. I think it's highly effective to probably treat people. Shit, J. Cole said this on that Snow on the Bluff song. He said, okay, I have one more suggestion. I think it's more effective to treat people like children, understanding the time and love and patience that's needed to grow. Yep. Yeah, I think that's just very, very true. I think people are just like very much children. Yeah. That just got older. Yeah. And they still have a lot of the traumas from them from then, and a lot of the stagnation and sort of arrested development for certain different reasons. But for the most part, like I've heard this thing about people saying, every 7 years, you're a whole new person, because they say that all of your cells have regenerated within 7 years. I don't know if there's any real science behind this or whatever, and that could very well be the case. But the only, I guess, rebuttal I would have to that is whether that's the case or not, your memories that you've had and your experiences, them shits didn't regenerate. Like you didn't. Those are still the same. Yeah. Like those haven't changed. So if you're still the same human with the same experiences from the past that have helped build the person that you are today, like then you're still largely that person to some degree. It may have evolved greatly. or devolved, however you want to look at it. It may have shifted, but there's still a very, very large part of you that was once that thing and still is that thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to get in tune with that part of yourself. I like to think of it as like sort of bolstering that child and remembering that child and nurturing that child with the wisdom of the age that you are, with the wisdom that has been attained through all the experiences through your life. So you get to be, the sage and the child all at once,
Which is like the most powerful thing, I think. I think that's just totally attaining the like nirvana at that point, because it's like that freedom, but also that wisdom, you know what I mean? And
because it's like if you're just young and just rambunctious and don't know a bunch of stuff and you're just creative and just running around, like you could very well run out in the street and get yourself killed, right?
Yes.
Which is why you have people try to keep you from running out in the street and getting killed. But then if you just get older and you lose that childlike sense of you, then you just have all this wisdom that you can't like really apply.
Yeah.
Like you can, you know what I mean? Like you just have it, but you're not using it in order to sort of enrich your life, at least maybe I'm being closed-minded in the way I'm looking at that. But
you're not, like I said, you're not trusting or being faithful in that wisdom. Like, that's why I say, if you got that wisdom, stand on business with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, take the risk, like, jump in the deep end. Like, if you do have that, and, like, test it then.
Yeah.
Like, that's that childlike part, where you're like, let's test it out then. Let's have some fun. Because I do know everything.
Yeah,
sure.
Right,
I am a genius. Yeah. Like, if that's what it is, like,
Yeah.
Because then it's like, after that, it's just wisdom to be wise, I guess.
Yeah, just wisdom for wisdom's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, people, there's been this thing my grandma used to say, which is that youth is wasted on the young. Right? The malleability and the flexibility of being able to get up and move and pivot, and that it's wasted on the young because the young don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she said that, and I was thinking, it's funny that is there a saying for that the wisdom is wasted on the elderly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what are y'all doing with that?
Yeah.
And so I've thought, man, if you could pair the two, if I can be blessed enough to retain flexibility and I can keep my body mobile through exercise and through stretching and try to keep my mind sharp for as long as I possibly can, then maybe I can marry the two.
Yes.
For as long as I can.
For as long as you can, but that's like, you can't even like I don't know, judge that. Because that's why I say, like, even the point where I'm at now, where it's like you think that shit, like you think about when you were a kid, like this is the point where it's all figured out, and then you get here and you're not like dead and you haven't lost ambition and you still have people who want to support you and want to see you still win. You know what I mean? Like still win, not like maybe win, like they still want to be like, you're gonna win. And we see that, like, sometimes like those people help you. Like sometimes it's like you're doubtful and those people are still there. It's like, oh, then I just won't quit. You know what I mean? It's like, then it's like, it's just there. Like until, like, for as long as you can, it's like, it's just like when it changes, it changes. That's kind of how like my life is, or it's just like, I think like once that's gone, once I feel like it's not fun, once I feel like I got nothing more to say, like, which instead I feel like it's just potent. Like even when I'm at work, it's like a lot of it, especially like when I'm doing just you're moving, I'm just thinking about lyrics, lines, things all the time. All the time. I'll go to the back and I'll just write them. Like put them in notes and then get back.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, shoot. Or sometimes like right when I get out of work, I'll get in the car or record a voice memo. Because it's like I had this sound the whole time. And I was like, shoot, I don't want to lose that. Okay, I'll just save it for later. Or like sometimes I'll do it like when I be in New York, there'll be times I'll just do it right there. You know what I mean? Like I'll just like go off like somewhere. Like I'll go to the bathroom and I'll just be And that's like, okay, cool, boom, saved, and I can just go back to work because it's like it's there though. And then it's like, because sometimes like in the tune or whatever, the idea, like it could start with one line, and it's like if I flesh this out, like sometimes there's no words to it, and then like, and now it's a whole song because you saved it and you saved that like idea. There's tons of voice memos and lines like that, you know what I mean? But it's like it's like just sort of allowing that sort of stuff to be, and allowing yourself to like allowing for that stuff to flow in. And that's the magic of, you know, it all, where it's just like, oh, I wasn't expecting this, because you're just a gel. Like that's what happens when you're just a gel. Like so much, you soak up so much, you know what I mean? Like you soak things up like a sponge, you know, and then it's just like you don't even know where it came from.
I know. I know that feeling well. There are these like incubation stages for myself where I realize I'm processing so much information that has been absorbed from me observing so many different things and stories and conversations, and I'll just know that
you could probably write a movie.
I mean, maybe, possibly,
or a story.
I guess. Yeah. I could if I sat
if you sat, like if you thought about. Because that's another thing. I feel like people may not even think of that space at all. Like, and then, but it's like, if you think about how much you've absorbed, there's so much, like people don't realize how much they've absorbed. I think it's just like, I'm an artist, so it's like I'm thinking about like, or it's just not even I'm thinking about, it's just absorbed in something like is puked out. You know what I mean? Like something inevitably. That's why I don't worry about talking about the things that are like deep or dark or vulnerable, because the time will come. It's like, oh, it's puked out, and this is the perfect way that it was supposed to be said. And I was like, because you'll be surprised. You look back and like, oh, that's exactly how I wanted to say it.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't, when we were on the phone, I was just jumbling on the words, and now like I wrote it down. It's like, damn, this is how I wanted to say it, you know? And it's more just like not stopping that sort of space, you know? And it's like sometimes you got to keep it private. Sometimes you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to that space, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just how it is, you know? And you need to realize that within yourself. You need to realize like, okay, this is to get to this spot, or a spot where I want to like try this out, like you kind of might have to like keep that to yourself until it's like, okay, cool, I got it lined up. Now I can at least like lined up. Sometimes I'm not even fully fleshed out with the thing, but it's like it's lined up enough where I could be like, hey, let's meet up. Hey, let's do this. Hey, da 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 da.
And so the most recent thing that you're working on is this release of the Scratch campaign.
Yeah. So this is a 2-song project of this project called Scratch, and that's SCR4. The 4 is a A, and then like TCH, and the idea is like kind of like what we've been talking about. The idea of just like us, like we start from scratch. Like we like I've to myself, I've started from like a point where it's like, okay, I need to like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of it needs to be rewired, because it's like friends that I thought I could trust, in a place that I thought was like, it's just like you just go from here, you know what I mean? You just win from here. It's like it all was just so shifted. And then it's like, even when everything went down, it was just like, oh, I could like, you know, talk to my girl about this, and then we broke up. And it's just like, wow, okay, so the time, but it was right when it all happened. So it was really just like a time where I'm like, okay, like even like thinking about like a secondary career, all this kind of stuff, like, okay, like this is a point where I'm just subordinate to faith, and in figuring out, like I knew that I needed to figure, these are things I wanted to figure out. Like even that video that you saw where it's like stop overthinking, video is called Unthinkable. It was this like that was the sketch is something I wrote, like, oh, something I need to work on, but I wasn't working on it because it's like you're just in this place of go, 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 and you can't really fathom. But that's something I really wanted to work on. It's like, stop thinking, believe in the faith that you got and all that sort of stuff. So it was like, that's why I was like, okay, I want to meditate every day. I want to like really figure out how to get to this myself then. And so these two songs on Scratch were recorded like during this time when it's like I'm figuring things out and stuff like that. And I think they're really good. I think they're really, really good songs. I really, really like them. And I like the like world that I'm building with it right now. And it's cool to like have people walk around in it, and it be like the rollout is like fun because it's interactive. It's like people can interact with it and stuff like that, and it also gives me an excuse to like press the button to like try new things and do this and da. And yeah, it's some I really am like proud of. And on top of that, I'm releasing these hoodies as well.
Yeah, the dad.
Yeah. So releasing these as well. And yeah, just like because each time, like I've also wanted to work it where it's like each time I like do a release, I want to like have like clothes to wear with it, things I'll wear with it. But it's like it's still also just influenced by the time period I'm in. So this is the moment of Scratch. This is the time of Scratch, like, you know, and wanting to put that message out that it's okay, that you can that like I think even my like recent Instagram post, I like put the idea that it's like we are like almost like works of art. Like we are put on this earth to be like perceived and judged and all that kind of stuff. Like that's just what it's gonna be regardless. So it's like, why not give them a show? Like why not, you know, because that's what it's going to be. Everybody's going to have ideas. Everybody's going to do this. Everybody like but it's like you are like a beautiful creation. You're like an amazing thing. So it's more like give people the show. Give people like, you know, like just know that you need to figure these things out, but know that also people are only they're going to put in a box regardless. That's just how things they have. People have to organize things. You know what I mean? And like know that like you can start from because that was also a thing why I named it this too, is because it was like. There was a point, like I said, like when I was younger, where I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta be this. I gotta be this. And I was like so against the idea of doing something else or change, or the idea that I could be anybody else. Like, it's like, I hated it. Like it was like somebody, I was acting in this film called Novocaine. And there was this lady who'd given me a book. It was like a children's book. And this it was like, and I was just spiraling around in high school, but it was like, there was a page where it's like, it's okay to start over. And it had a little like drawing, I like scratched it out. Like I was like 5 years old. Wow. Like this is like stuff I would do when I was like 5 to 10. I was just like, I like scribbled on it and stuff like that. Cause I just didn't like I didn't like it. I didn't like looking at that. Yeah,
that's wild to do.
And I was
at
like,
that age.
Yeah, and I just was very private about that part, because there's like parts of me that are like still like in another like imaginative, and like even like I got a homie with me right now.
Oh, is it the little alien?
Yeah, my boy Simeon, man.
I've seen this little alien make a few appearances.
Yeah, man.
So what was his name?
Simeon, man. So Simeon, he's the hype man. All my shows, I always say, yo, it's Simeon, bro. Like, give it up. He's going crazy right now. Like, he's got to chill out a little bit, but he is like the main hype man.
Oh, yeah, definitely set him up.
I'll set him up. I'll set him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And so he's like hype man at my shows and stuff like that. Knows all the words, everything like that. Of course. And the whole thing is like, my idea is like, I am from another dimension, not another planet, another dimension that is like different from this, where it's like people are there, but they got like, you know, they might have a third eye or another tentacle or another arm, but it's the same sort of dimension.
Yeah.
But they just like, but everything is already so crazy. So the strive for crazy, the strive for newness is not as as palpable as like coming to this dimension. So I stole a UFO using black matter science, and I met him along the way, made it here, and now we're living it out.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. For sure.
That all makes sense.
For sure. Yeah, that all makes sense. After this whole conversation, everyone's like, yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board with
You
that.
know?
Yeah. Okay.
And so like that's like weird. So like my head's like already like in this, like, I think it might be also only child stuff where it's just like I'm living with a lot of this, like, as like this is the reality, you know what I mean? Like this is what's going on. And it's like one thing where it's just like it's fun to have people come into this world and like they can like be like their own versions of what they are in this, like, you know, this world and this, you know, this rollout and this. And that's what's fun with the clothes too, where it's like, okay, you can like, this is what you wear during this thing and you know what I mean? And it's great. And it's coming, it's like, but it's also, you can never like, you just do it when you're ready. You put it out when it's ready. You put it, you like, and I feel like this is a time where it's like, these are ready to go. And it's like everything, whenever it's like also like with this, it's like working with people like where there's only love involved in the project. Like we all have had love and admiration for each other. Like, and shout out Plastic Baby, who helped mix iDog, which is the first song on it, and Ben the Plug produced it, my other friend. And then the other song is called Wither 54. And that's produced by the talented Timothy Bright. He's like a huge musician, big guy. Shout out him, both DMV artists. And yeah,
and also tell people where they can find like some of your stuff.
So
I'll also drop it in the description.
Yeah, so you can find my music by looking up Dilruk Da Silva on all platforms. It's DILRUK. And then DE space capital SILVA. And then on SoundCloud and Instagram, it's DD Yums, and DDYUMS. And I also have clothes, and you go to Etsy, it's Dad Creative Ventures, DAD, and then Creative Ventures. And for my friends is Plastic Baby on Spotify. And Timothy Bright on Spotify, all platforms, same thing.
Yeah.
But and the rest is also my YouTube if you want to do that. Like I got a lot of I've done a lot of stuff.
Sure do.
So YouTube is my YouTube is like Dingle Dang is the name of the YouTube. I did name it when I was like 12, 13 and I thought it would be fun because I was like I knew eventually I wanted to put serious stuff on there.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting when it's like all of this is on Dingle Dang. Yeah. Like even the like serious surrealist short film I made's on there too.
Yeah.
And the stand-up's on there. Like everything's on there. But then I have that, and then like, but if you go to my Instagram, DD Yums, like, you could also see like some acting work because I've like acted in like other music videos. I was at one music video for this actor called rapper. His name was Cowboy. It's called 10 Toes Down. If you want to look that up. And I did this like what is it? This show called Bestie Picks Bay, and it was like this reality show for 17 magazine, and you could look up that as well. Commercials, blah blah blah. There's a lot of stuff, but DDMs I feel like is like the portfolio.
Yeah.
You could like kind of look at like Instagram is like a good portfolio for those things, but yeah, like that's like really that, and we'll see where we go from there. Really, yeah.
That's
like,
very cool.
There's probably even stuff I'm like forgetting to say. Yeah.
Well, listen, man. This was awesome. Just like you and I both knew.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm glad that you heard about this and then let me know that you heard about it.
Yes, because I heard you talking about it at work, and I was just like, hold on. Like, there's somebody else thinking like how I'm thinking, because it's like you gotta whittle away. That's what's like nice. Or I was like, we could skip a couple steps.
Yeah.
We don't gotta whittle. Like, I know you like talking to people.
Yeah.
Like, we could do this.
We can get straight to it.
And because everybody else, it's like you gotta whittle, and it's like man, we can do this right now. Like, we could do it right now. Like, and that's how I was like, we got to do this, right?
Yeah, this was fun, and you definitely have to come back and do this again.
Absolutely. Too. Like, we could do one also. Like, we could do ones where it's like straight something. Like, we did. Like, I was thinking we were gonna talk even like more media stuff that we like. We were just straight philosophy.
It was definitely a lot of philosophy in there for sure. Yeah, it was just whatever the space. We
gelled.
We gelled.
We gelled the fuck out, man.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
And, thank everybody for listening to
this. Thank you for listening.
Love you guys. Peace.
Love y'all.
Peace. Thank you. My man.
Hell yeah, man.